All right. I've been waiting so long for this day. What's up, folks? Good to have you here. Man, I do wish I had my camera, though. I'm not gonna lie. I do wish I had my camera, but I don't. Out the way. Just great to have you all here. It is a beautiful day. I've been itching, waiting for months for this new update to drop. Y'all already know how much I love POE. POE2. I just want to get back into the game. I want to get back into it. I want to just grind it. And get some endgame stuff. Max up my Huntress again. Hopefully get some, good gear. That's what I'm hoping for. I want to see some new weapons today. New weapons. I want to see some gear. I want to see some monsters. Hopefully a new act. That'd be nice. Right, if we get a new act, weapons, and maybe some ascendancy, I'm very happy. Like, if I see Huntress ascendancy, I'm happy. Very happy. Oh. Hold on. I gotta get metal open. I always forget about that. There you go. Gotta always make sure I have that on. 2 minutes. Oh. The day has come. I'm so happy, dude. But yeah, if I see any new ascendancy for Huntress, happy. Even Monk I'd be happy with, but more so Huntress, because Huntress is like my main character. I love the class. But like, if I see a sword, if I see an axe, I'm stoked. Here we go. And drops will begin the moment that the stream begins. Or at least the live part of the stream. Like right now it's live, but like the actual presentation part. So if you're waiting here for drops, just wait until this timer comes down and wait until you see people on screen. Then that's when the drops start to happen. Just refresh. All right. There we go. Unfortunately, for those on YouTube, no drops for y'all. But if you want drops for POE2, you gotta come to Twitch. All right. Here we go. 30 seconds, baby. I'm ready. I'm so pumped for this. I just wish I can scream, but I can't. It's like 5 in the morning. So I can't wake up anyone else in this Sir house. But I'll try and maintain my hype as much as I can. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers.
Hey,
from
Jonathan.
Gear Games.
What's up?
And welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration rare finisher effect by following the instructions below.
Here you go.
Now with that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
Woo! Okay.
I have called you here to save our people, to save our way. Over the ages, we have known pain like no other, but we endured, and we became mighty.
Yo, that's an axe. I see an axe. That's an axe right there.
Outsiders dishonor our shores.
I saw an
We
axe,
have
dude.
stood by, doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors. Show us your strength.
That's literally an
Show
axe.
us
Oh,
the true way.
axe confirmed.
I understand.
Ooh, warrior. Okay, mercenary. Ooh, okay. Oh, bosses. Okay, monk. Okay, this annoying chicken. Okay, witchy, witchy, witchy. Ooh. Okay, that's ranger for sure.
The true Lakura Makoi will rise.
Act 4, let's go. Yes, sir. 3 interlude acts. Okay. That's what I want to see. 35 new areas. Yo. 24 new bosses. What? Support gem overhaul. Let's go. Massive skill rework. I love it. I love it. 40 lineage supports. What? Endgame maps. What? New items. What? Notables. What? Sprinting. What the heck is going on? Trade system. What the? What's going on? Okay, what? Introducing. Rise of the Abyssal. Oh. Okay. Yo, dude, I'm super pumped for that. Holy moly. That's amazing. Woo! Oh, dude. I cannot wait for that. That is going to be amazing. Dude, new support gems.
There's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today.
Holy
We'll start
moly.
by going over Act 4, the next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline. But that's not all. There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to endgame, which means we're removing cruel difficulty too.
Okay,
After
nice.
that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters.
No more cruel difficulty,
I'm
thank
super
goodness.
excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system, added new skills,
All
and
classes
yes,
buffs,
there
let's
it
go.
is. Next, we'll go over the Rise of the Abyssal,
Oh my
this
gosh.
season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds.
I love it.
After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting,
Items.
and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah, people want to
We'll
be
then
talking
go
about
over our
trade.
new supporter packs and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark,
Dude,
your
the fact
questions from
that
Twitch chat.
the fact that there
And
is
after that, at
cruel
4 p.m.
difficulties
Pacific,
finally
patch
removed.
notes. They're not
Oh.
quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We've got a
Yes.
lot to cover today. But
Yes.
first, another announcement.
Hmm?
When the Third Edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2.
Oh, nice.
That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key.
That's great.
The
That's
free weekend
amazing.
will end on September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try.
Yeah, that's good for those who don't have the game
Alright,
yet.
let's get started with Act 4.
Ooh, Act
The story
4.
continues from the end of Act 3. Doyani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption.
Yes, yes.
Instrument of the Third Edict. The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes.
Oh yeah.
You will need to journey to Kingsmarch, hire a ship, and set sail.
Let's do. Wow.
When you open the map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like.
That's
Act
awesome.
4 is completely non-linear.
Oh,
and you
that's
can visit
beautiful.
The islands in any order you choose.
That's great. That's amazing.
Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island?
What island? What?
The Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all who travel there.
What
Perhaps
island?
it's related to the weapon
Excuse
you
me?
seek. Or maybe you will visit the volcanic shores of the Isle of Kin. The Kin have been more restless recently, mining for sulfite and driven by some dark force.
What is this
Perhaps
guy?
you will choose to consult with one of the local Karui tribes. Their ancient wisdom could hold clues to finding the Third Edict.
Oh.
No matter where you choose to go, you will fight dangerous beasts, find fabulous treasures,
Long John Silver. Oh, I see bow. Okay. Anything else?
and battle incredible bosses.
Oh yeah. The boss fights are gonna be great. Yama the White.
There are 8 islands to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna.
Oh, I love
Act
this.
4 contains over 100 new monster types,
100
16 new areas,
What?
12 new bosses,
What?
and plenty of other interesting encounters.
Oh, okay.
There's a huge amount to show, but we're not going to spoil too much here. We want to give you a chance to discover it all for yourself.
Yes, I cannot wait.
What happens after Act 4? Well, until now you had to repeat the entire campaign again before you could face the endgame.
Yeah, that was
After
annoying.
adding Act 4, the game is far too long to make you do that. We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course. And we're calling
Ooh.
them the Interludes.
Interludes. Okay,
The
that's
Interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released.
Nice.
It will take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin.
nice. Amazing. I love
The
that.
first interlude sends you on a journey back to Ogham.
I love that.
Renly has been leading the efforts
Renly.
to rebuild Ogham village after the defeat of
He is
Count
tatted
Dooku.
up now.
But there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You will discover new areas
Ooh.
and new bosses.
Siora, Blade of the Mist. Oh, that
You'll
looks
need to
cool.
find your way through the darkness, uncover the source of corruption,
Soon you will serve our master.
and defeat it.
Yes, I shall dance with their corpse.
And that's just the first
Oh,
interlude.
okay. That's the first interlude.
The second interlude
Looks
will
sick.
have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty.
Oh, yeah, I remember this part
When
of
the
the map.
skies align, the gifting of water requires a chosen Sekima to meet with the Selkari, guardians of the sacred water. But they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari. Find those responsible for disrupting the gifting.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm
Fight
so
even more new
excited.
bosses.
Oh, cool, boss.
Discover the secrets of the ancient ritual.
Okay.
Discover new locations.
But why does Warrior look nuts now?
And ultimately help Asala carry out her sacred duty.
Why is Warrior look busted?
Now for interlude 3.
Doriani.
As royal thaumaturge of the Val, Doyani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan involved sealing a group of willing Val deep in a great mountain vault near the home of the Asmeri, deep enough to survive the cataclysm. Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and
Oh.
may be key to defeating the beast. The journey up the mountain will
Ooh,
be dangerous.
okay, Mercenary's cooking.
New foes stand in your way.
Dude, that golden shield for Warrior looks
And the
sick.
further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will become.
Damn, okay, Mercenary. They're showing a lot of Mercenary and
caves of
Warrior.
ice.
Okay, finally they have Sorceress.
And enter the vault itself.
They're
Who can
showing a
say
lot of
what you
those
will find
classes.
within? The interludes are 6 to 7 areas each, and generally include 4 boss fights as well.
Nice.
When you put
That's
that together
pretty
with Act
long.
4, that adds up to 35 new areas in the campaign and 24 new bosses.
Wow, that's a lot of
It's
grinding.
worth making clear that the interludes are temporary. When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away.
Makes sense.
These are side stories after all. But don't worry, the bosses and areas that make up the interlude are all part of the endgame. We're not just going to throw them away. And with that, we don't need cruel difficulty anymore.
Yay!
We do know that it was a pretty big chore to have to play through the campaign multiple times on each character.
Yes.
And this was a huge reason that the campaign could feel like a bit of a slog when playing through again.
Yes,
But we
exactly.
do also have another new feature to address that particular concern as well. So let's talk about sprinting.
Sprinting? What?
In 030, when you hold down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll.
That is pretty sick.
This is available on all character
Yo, what's up,
classes, and there's
Sound?
no
New
limitation on
class?
how long you can sprint for.
No new class, unfortunately.
The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating
Just
areas
Act
faster when
4,
out of
interludes.
combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground.
Oh, you're dead.
The best idea
You're
is to
dead.
use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger. If you do need to run away from monsters, just hold spacebar. You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster in the game, allowing you to retreat from combat.
Oh, that's good. So it's good
Sprint
for
is a pretty
retreating.
significant change to POE2's gameplay.
Yeah,
What I like
yeah.
most about it is that we can accelerate the pace of the game for those who want that, without having to compromise on POE2's more visceral combat systems.
True.
Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign.
Very
But
true.
there's a whole giant league to play through as well.
Yes,
I'll
give
leave
it a
that
league
to
more.
Mark to talk about later.
More league
And that's
stuff.
because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for your characters.
Ooh.
And probably one of the biggest new systems here is with the support gems.
Support gems,
Now,
baby.
support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build.
Yes.
They're what enables so many interesting mechanics and different ways to play.
This was lacking
But
for sure.
POE2's support gem system has just never been quite right. One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character. We didn't want builds to just become using the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill. The problem with this design, though, is that it's actually working against using multiple skills in your build.
True.
If you can only use
That
each
was very
support gem
limiting.
on one skill, it means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability.
Exactly.
We want to encourage you to combo your abilities, something needed to change. So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character. You can now
Nice.
use as many copies as you like.
Oh, that's so good.
This
That's
should drastically
amazing.
Increase the amount of possible builds and increase the amount of skill diversity.
That's incredible. We need that. That adds so much more build variety
There
and
are a lot of
versatility.
potential builds that suffered from the previous restriction. For example, a poison build previously couldn't add poison to more than one skill.
True.
They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either.
Exactly.
This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the specifically designed poison archetype. But now you
Very
can.
true. That
Many
means Ranger
utility
got
skills
buffed then.
previously couldn't scale to endgame because the supports that would make them scale were more useful to use on other skills. You would never speed up killing Palm with martial tempo when you would much rather use it on your primary skill instead.
That is
There are
so
more examples
good.
like this all over the place.
That's incredible, dude. We needed this so bad.
In addition to that, though, we thought there wasn't enough feeling
Holy.
of progression in the supports as you went through the game. There were only 3 tiers of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at tier 1.
Okay.
Also, there were no strict upgrades, meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking.
Yes, exactly. That was very
In order
limiting
to solve
too.
these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game.
Oh, so like different
For
okay.
example, double barrel
Nice.
support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At tier 2, the penalty gets lowered to 20%. But then at tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now
What?
reloads automatically when you heavy stun an enemy.
What? That's crazy.
In some
Mercenary
cases,
got
the highest
buffed.
tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15, then 20% increased cast speed. But then at tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed. Which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells.
Yeah, if you're really
So that's
if you're
pretty good
just
for
spell
upgrades through the
casting with
campaign.
sorceress or something,
But
that's
we wanted
great.
to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports
That's
too.
so
And that's where our
amazing.
new system, lineage supports, comes in.
Lineage supports?
You
What
can think
the?
of these like unique items, but for supports.
Oh,
There are
what?
supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll. As well as
What?
increasing the number of bolts it can hold.
Yo,
But it
mercenary
does
is
mean that it's
buffed.
the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses.
Okay, so these are like rare. Okay, but they're good for endgame
And
anyway.
there's a ton in
Okay.
the regular drop pool too.
Okay, so there's some that are rare, and then it's
Some of them
done.
are fairly rare,
Okay.
others fairly common.
Okay, so they have common versions, and then they have
Some of
the
them are
more.
build defining,
What the?
others are just straight up power upgrades.
Bruh. That's crazy for Monk.
All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame.
40
so there's a lot
lineages.
of power to find out there.
Wow.
Now, the new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. As well as adding new skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here,
Okay.
so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick
Yo.
fire through some of the coolest changes.
Yeah, give me some skill changes,
We
baby.
wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger.
Thank
so we expanded
you.
the cold tools available.
Yes, cold has been something that
As
I've
well
been
as
like.
increasing
I
its
love
range,
freeze
the escape
builds.
shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground.
Oh, it's so good. I
These
love
fragments
freeze
explode
so
after a
much.
short time,
It's
making
about
the skill
time
better
they
for killing
upgrade
groups of
more
enemies.
cold damage.
But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing
Ooh,
frozen
frozen
enemies.
spite. Okay, Ranger got buffed then.
And a new buff skill called Ice Tipped Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments.
What? Dude, Ranger's getting
This already
Ranger's
gets clear to
eating.
Rangers wanting to use ice. But to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment.
Oh,
giving
that's
you a
so
new
great.
ability.
Freezing Salvo's been yo. I love Freezing Salvo so much.
We've also modified Snipe to consume frozen from
Yo,
enemies, dealing a
good
huge
time
amount
zone,
more
Grams.
damage,
How you
giving
doing?
you a nice ice single target option.
Oh, that's so
And
good.
something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game. Since it's a lot
Ooh.
harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it.
Of course. Oh, I love this. This is a great
Another
change.
theme you'll see throughout the game is making movement feel better. Toxic Growth is a skill that was pretty cool, but a bit annoying to use with the jump that it had. Now Toxic Growth is a rain skill, so you can spam it more easily.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Toxic
And
Growth
we
is
also
a really
added
good.
a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain.
Toxic
It
Domain.
creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules.
Oh.
But attached to monsters.
That's pretty cool.
Another skill that was annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to use.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But it also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has
Good things, I got home from
making it a
work.
tool for more than just single target.
Welcome home.
And
Welcome
allowing it to
home. Am I
scale into the
excited?
end.
I am beyond excited right now. I just can't scream because it's it's too early in the morning. But I am literally screaming inside.
Create shadowy clones of yourself.
What?
Use a skill of your choice.
Okay, dude, Ranger is actually cooking right now. You have you have like an
Of course, one of
actual
the other big problems that
clone
Ranger
now?
had was survivability.
Yeah, this was the
Evasion
biggest problem.
weakest of the three defenses. And
Yeah.
We wanted to change that.
This is definitely why I got
Currently,
cooked so
evasion
much with
doesn't
Ranger.
evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect.
Deflect.
Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything. And if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage.
Oh, so it's kind of
Items
like
can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion.
a parry in a way.
And there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too.
Oh, that's so
Deflection
good.
is rolled in addition to evasion. So this is an upgrade for regular hits too.
That's good.
And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough.
Ooh,
Of
wonderful.
course, this is a buff that helps all dex characters, so the mercenary and the monk, but especially the huntress, are seeing big defense boosts. from
Really?
this
Let's
as well.
go, 100, baby. Oh yeah.
Speaking of
Oh
defensive
baby.
mechanics, let's talk
Yes.
about block and parry.
Yes. Come
Now,
on.
one of
This
the
is
big
my
concerns on
girl.
The release of the huntress was
This is my
parry
girl.
feeling unreliable.
Give me more
One of
100,
the big
baby.
reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either.
True.
So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for
What?
specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use.
Okay, that makes sense. That's amazing change.
This makes parry much more reliable.
Woo,
And not only
baby.
that, but to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities.
Oh, so
This
good.
is a massive buff to passive block as well. So to counter that,
Dude,
you don't
I
have to
love
load
that's
the max
that's
passive block
so
a bit.
great. I love
Overall,
that
you should feel much
change.
safer.
I love that. Pairing was such a hassle, but
Fire
now
skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard.
oh, I'm so
we decided
happy.
We needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic fish are now branches into multiple fishes, giving it much more clearing potential.
Okay, yeah, Fisher was
We've
kind
also
of
added a new skill called Forge Hammer.
struck.
This
What
skill
the heck?
throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance. You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like.
Okay, the
But
Thor
the cooler
hammer.
thing to do is to use a Warcry near it. Using a Warcry makes the hammer explode,
Ooh.
making a bunch of volcanic fishes around.
That's sick.
Volcanic fishes re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Gorion, the moving earth.
We also buffed Perfect Strike to have a much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well. And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry.
Ancestral Cry.
Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kalm's favor. After you do, use it to channel
What?
Town's ancestral power.
Holy, so
Every
much
attack will
fire.
be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures. And molten
Damn,
balls will
warrior,
erupt from your attacks.
warrior got buffed with the fire all day.
Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve. Now that we've got
I saw
sprint,
something fun on
we actually don't
Kickstarter
need to have a
today
cooldown
and
on
immediately
shield
thought of
charging.
you during summer.
And now
A
also
blanket
does more damage
guaranteeing
the
to
further
lower
away
the
you are when
temperature
you
by
use it.
about 15 degrees Celsius. And it's made in Japan. Yo,
Shield
send me a
wall
link.
got
That sounds interesting.
significantly upgraded AoE.
That'd be
Also,
really
you
good
can
for
shield charge
the,
right through
the
it to trigger all the walls.
deathly summers right now, man.
We also added a new shield war cry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your
Ooh.
shield that empowers your other shield skills. And Magma Barrier now
Magma
doesn't require
Barrier.
timing in order to use. Just
Oh,
wait
that's
for your
good.
shield to charge up and block.
Nice. That's good. Before, you kind of had to struggle to use Magma Barrier.
Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed for stun. And we changed the Sunder interaction with Armor Break.
Oh,
It now also
thank you
gives
so
a
much,
Sunder
Gramps.
armor
I
debuff
appreciate that.
Makes enemies take 40%
Uh-oh.
extra physical damage.
Hold on.
Great for bosses.
Yeah, there you go.
Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal.
Yeah,
So we've
okay, this
changed
was
totem to
kind
require
of
3 endurance charges to summon.
this was kind of
and
lacking
massively
for
buffed its
sure.
damage.
So I'm
It
glad
also
that they've
now
actually made
scales
this
your weapon
change.
damage too.
Because you want to make sure that totem has
Since there's no
value.
limit anymore, if you build around generating endurance charges, you can summon an entire forest of totems.
What? Okay, that's a huge buff.
In order to make that easier, we added some new sources of endurance charges. There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges, and a support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well. Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer.
Okay,
Among the other changes
Warbringer.
we made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways.
I'm so happy about the
Use it with
parry
your
though.
limitless ancestral
I'm still
warrior
thinking
forest
about the
to make
parry
an
right
army
now.
of Kurui that would make Tukahama proud.
As a Huntress main, I'm
We've
extremely
also merged
happy
the
about
Great
that.
Wolf Howl and Warcall as
I
well as
cannot
support,
wait,
so you
my
get all the
guy.
benefits
Oh
from
my
one
gosh.
point. And Encased in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense.
Nice. Okay, so more tanky basically for warrior.
Next up, let's talk about accuracy. Accuracy was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in close combat. But unfortunately, that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with.
Yeah, Bone Shadow was
So we
a struggle for
significantly
me.
buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy.
That's good, because yeah,
Warriors
Bone
shouldn't
Shadow was
require
definitely
any accuracy
inconsistent.
investment in order to hit with close range attacks now.
Good, 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 good.
We also wanted to improve armor. Now, one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage.
Ooh.
It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree.
Nice.
One of the most important improvements we've made in 030 is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows.
Okay, so
You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty.
Mercenary got buffed. I can see that
But
for
not only
sure.
that, all skills that can be used while moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time. This change benefits everyone, not just crossbow skills. With
true.
both of these changes put together, the run and gun playstyle feels much better.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, run and
It's
gun
hard
is
to
definitely
explain
something I
how
like in
important this change
Mercenary.
is for the feel of the class.
Yeah, yeah.
The Mercenary is also a good chance to talk about how we're rebalancing to make comboing skills much better. Take Shock, for example.
I love
It buffs
Mercenary,
damage in
dude.
last 4 seconds right now, but that isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If
It's
you're
not
going
very
to add a
cheap
lightning
though.
skill into
It's
a build that
half
otherwise
off
wouldn't use
on
one,
Kickstarter
we need to
and
make
still going
mechanics like this
for
much better.
17,000 yen. Yeah, that's still quite a bit.
8 seconds.
That's still about like $200 roughly.
And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be
But
good
for
at
what it's
shocking
worth,
enemies,
it sounds
now
pretty
increase the
tempting.
damage bonus
It
by a
sounds
lot
worth
more.
it. Okay, this is endgame.
You'll find
Endgame
changes like
boss.
this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage.
Oh,
Freezing
yes,
skills are
freeze,
better at
man.
freezing.
Let's
Burning
go.
skills need to
Freeze
cause burns
Mercenary
that
is
last
coming
longer.
back, baby.
But making skills like Permafrost Bolts and Incendiary Shot double down on how they're supposed to be used, it makes using them in your build alongside other skills much more likely.
Oh, I'm doing Freeze Mercenary
We're also
too.
making sure to buff specific combos too.
Huntress and Mercenary are like
Freeze explosions
two of my
from frag
favorites.
rounds now chain to nearby enemies.
Ooh.
And using high velocity rounds with armor break will now fragment the opponent's armor. This causes monsters to take a portion of high velocity rounds damage with every subsequent hit, even tiny
Ooh.
pellets. So that means following it with a shotgun blast is way more effective.
That's wild.
Now there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now I'm just going to talk about the new one we added. the
Mortar
Mortar
Can. What?
This one lets you socket any grenade skill, and using it will summon a cannon which loads and then fires the grenade you choose.
What the? Okay, that's kind of cool. That is sick.
Another issue on the Mercenary were banners. They were just not very good, so we're doing a big upgrade to them. They now last longer, don't disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic.
Oh, that's
They
so
now just
good.
give a much more consistent and stronger buff.
That's
and you can
good.
use them
That
when you
was
get enough
definitely
glory.
an issue for Mercenary for sure. Those banners are ass.
On which, one of the main focuses was making various minion types more useful to use together. Melee minions in particular were just not that great compared to ranged ones.
Yeah,
As
this was a
starting
huge.
point, we
This
just
was a
straight up
huge
removed
issue.
the requirement for minions to have accuracy.
Nice,
Attack minions now always hit, which makes them way better.
wonderful.
Brutes got some good numeric buffs, but we also added a new command skill where they do a war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you.
Oh,
with
so they
big
have like a
cold
taunt.
explosion.
Okay, nice.
We've also changed the Frost Mage's command skill to an ability that adds ice armor to your other minions, adding a layer of defense. And it makes them deal
Ooh,
cold damage back to the attacker as well. The ice armor also makes the minion count as frozen, so the Brute's Warcry can detonate them too.
that's cool.
Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights.
All right, so
And they also added a
minion
jump
builds are
ability,
coming
allowing you to
back.
get into combat faster. Ray's Spectre was also feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have. To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a
Why
large
is the-
range of
why does the
monsters,
quality look
and we've
bad? Oh, no
significantly
wonder.
increased Spectre damage too.
There you go. I was wondering why the quality looks so weird.
There's also a lot of new spellcaster weapons with newer cult skills. But I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool. The Reaping Staff is actually a
Reaping
wicked
Staff.
scythe that gives you a new ability called Reap.
What
When
this?
an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly. healing
Oh, okay. So now they have raking and other builds
also
then.
inflict critical
So
weakness
it's
on
not
enemies
just on
too.
Huntress. now,
Now, there's a lot of balance
reaping
changes in
staff.
the Witches Ascendancy classes, but I'll just talk about two of
Oh,
them for now.
which is kind of
On
nice
the
now.
Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend
Ooh.
your first points on Sanguimancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we made Sanguimancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately.
That's great. That's a
On
good
the
change.
Infernalist, the demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now. On the Monk, the wind skills needed a big upgrade for sure. Staggering Palm can now stack up its duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily.
That's nice.
Wind Blast had the purpose of building up to dazing an enemy, but dazing just wasn't worth all that effort.
Yeah,
Now it
dazing
just
wasn't
dazes on
like.
hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's good.
Following up with Vaulting
'Cause it was
Impact
su- it
on
was
a
such
dazed
a-
enemy previously
such
did
a
once with
hassle.
stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their
Oh.
stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will
Dude,
do
what are
way more
those
damage.
orbs on top of the monk? That looks like a new thing.
A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in POE1 was hand-to-hand combat, but until now we just didn't have a real way to make it viable. Well, that changes now.
Ooh,
The monk,
okay.
as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the hollow palm technique.
Hollow palm
A keystone
technique.
that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed.
What?
All
Okay.
quarterstaff attacks now have a special unarmed version.
Oh,
and you get further
what?
bonuses to all your attacks
Okay,
from
you're
stacking
playing
enemy
martial
shield and
arts
evasion
master
on your
now.
character.
What the? Okay, now
A
you're
new keystone
actually
we
playing.
Also added to the monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds.
Oh, dude, this looks
changes
so
mana limits
sick.
to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the monk has. But it works well for the ranger too.
This looks crazy.
Now, one of the least
Actual
used
martial
ascendancy classes
artists.
in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula.
Oh, yep,
So we
Acolyte.
knew we needed to make some changes here.
Yep.
One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill, allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze.
What?
Embracing the elemental prowess of the monk in a truly chaotic fashion.
That is kind of
In
crazy.
addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills.
Oh, wow. That's a huge change for Acolyte
He
Chayula.
also gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're killed, they do massive explosions of darkness, dealing damage to everything in sight.
That is, dude, that's a
Now let's talk
huge
about
change.
Sorceress skills. One of the things
What's
we
up,
wanted to
Marie?
improve
How you
on the
doing?
Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively. Now, this
Definitely
might
get
seem
some
small,
sleep though, Marie.
but one of the
Get some
things pushing
sleep.
you towards using a single element is debuffs like Elemental Curses, which lower resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we're making quite a lot of game-wide changes to these kinds of mechanics to broaden what they apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time.
That's interesting.
And things like Frost Bomb, which gave you cold exposure.
Oh, I love Frost
now give
Bomb.
Elemental exposure. You can use it to buff any of your other skills.
Ooh, Frost Bomb is like one of my favorite abilities in the game.
We also
So
want to
good.
make switching between different weapon sets smoother, so you can use different elemental staves more effectively.
Oh,
To do
that's
that,
so
we've
good.
removed the weapon switch time. And now it
Oh,
happens
weapon
instantly.
swapping is so
This
good
applies
now.
game-wide too.
That's so good. So you can just
we
insta
didn't just wanna
swap.
stop
That's
there.
so great.
We wanted to add some specific
That's a wonderful
mechanics that work
change.
between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frost bomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground. After
Ooh,
picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work.
that's interesting
Spark will create
too.
a nova of cold-infused projectiles.
Wow.
Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground. And we also added a new low-level skill that fires ice shards. Use it with cold infusion though, and the ice shards will explode.
Okay, so Sorceress is kind of cooking right
Orb
now.
of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning.
Oh,
Once you
that
have
is
one,
that
you
is a
could cast
huge
lightning
change.
Flame Wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage. to
The
all
lightning
projectiles that
flame
pass
wall.
through it.
This is a huge change for Sorceress.
Or
That's a
power
really
up
good
Ember
change for her.
Fuselage with lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby
Oh,
enemies
Ember
as each fireball
Fuselage is
hits.
so good. I love this ability so much. Or this skill, sorry. It's so
Or maybe
good.
go lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now a projectile, and by infusing it, you can go full Palpatine.
Full Palpatine.
Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with Living Bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a giant fire meteor from the sky. Or use it with Firestorm, which transforms it from a small area into a much bigger one. Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time.
Dude, do I go for a full
Add an ice
Palpatine
infusion
build?
to rain down ice at the same time as the fire. And add
I may
lightning
have to
add
try-
deadly strikes from the heavens into the mix.
Ooh. I may have to try
Or
Palpatine
use
build
a
at
level
some
3
point.
to generate a storm that is truly apocalyptic.
Holy! You got fire,
Snap is what simply
brimstone,
turned
lightning,
into
and ice,
Snap.
everything.
Previously, you could use it to shatter ice, but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments and makes them leave behind infusions. And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms.
Dude,
and
Sorceress
Soul Orb
mains
to
are going to be
detonate those as
eating
well,
right now.
which means you can create many infusions at once. We also have a Spirit Reservation skill and a
Siphon
support
elements.
gem to help generate them too.
Wow, there's a lot more complexity to
On the passive
to
tree,
to
we've added quite a
Sorceress.
few new keystones to the Sorceress section. Here are a couple of examples.
Or
The
Sorceress.
Black Flame Covenant keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes
What?
your ignites to deal chaos damage.
Okay. That's good
Your
for
fire spells and ignites
chaos.
will also turn purple. The Ritual Cadence keystone causes your
Alright, so there's some
invocation spells
chaos-
to trigger
some
more
chaos buffs there.
times. It makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one. Great for those auto bomber builds. Now, in addition to skill changes, we've
Ooh.
added a lot more options for the
Dude, they
passive
gave
tree
us a
for each
lot of
class.
skill
Overall, there are more than
upgrades.
100 new notables on the tree.
100
Usually
new
around 20
notables?
per class, along
What?
with smaller clusters as well.
Oh
Check out
gosh.
the old version. And here's the new version.
Whoa,
It's a
that's
lot more dense, and
crazy.
there's more interesting nodes than before.
Way more nodes.
Now, we probably can't go through too many of these in the live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area of the tree.
Yeah. Give me
We tried
Huntress.
to be a lot more thematic with the new nodes. So, for example, the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of armor break apply to your fire
Gimme.
damage.
I want to see Huntress. Gimme.
Or how about Last Stand, which gives you lots of stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate.
That's actually kind of cool.
A lot of these have themes aligning with ascendancy classes. Like for the Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments, depending on which support gem color you have socketed the most.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Another ascendancy class aligned notable is Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana.
that's for Witch, for
unlocking that
sure.
support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy.
Yeah, exactly. That's for Witch.
In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element. You become a
Oh.
Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to lightning, and you will do extra lightning damage as well. We have
Literally
ones for cold
Palpatine.
and fire too, with different triggers.
Literally Palpatine build.
Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently,
Mm.
while also making crits generate more energy for triggers. Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold.
Oh, that's Huntress.
Or the Cunning Fox. It straight up gives you 5% quality to all your gems.
Okay.
Now, another major change is attribute requirements. We felt like players probably had a few too many nodes and attributes and not enough in interesting passives. So we lowered attribute requirements by 25% across the board.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's good.
That means you'll have more points to spend on interesting notables rather than just needing to allocate more strength, dex, and int.
That's really good
Now,
change
there are way
for
more
sure.
changes than just these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off. But I'd say that's just about enough for now. We're not even half done yet. So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the Abyssal.
Yeah, give
And
us
to
a
do
new
that,
league.
I'd like to hand things over to Mark.
Dude, those are some
As you
really
just
massive
saw,
changes.
Even though there are major changes to the campaign for this update,
Yeah, there's a
we want
huge
to make
changes
sure that
coming.
every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when returning between expansions is fresh and filled with new content. And the way we did this was through leagues. Every expansion we make has a
Rise
league,
of the Abyssal,
which not
okay.
only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve into the details of what Path of Exile 2's first official league is bringing to the table.
Let's see
The
this.
Abyssal are a race that have mastery of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought to be extinct, but have merely been biding their time underground. You first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment.
Oh, wow.
The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there,
Mortimer. Yeah, he's a new guy. I know Una and Finn.
As you proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten
I'm
to
so
strengthen
tempted.
the Abyssal underground.
I'm so tempted to want to run
As you defeat
mercenary.
the monsters, the fissure closes and Abyssal emerge.
Looks so
angered
crazy
by you
now.
killing their food. Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more Abyssal pour out. This is where the larger and more dangerous monsters reveal themselves, as
Ooh.
hordes of Abyssal spew out from the pit to take your soul. If you kill a magic pack, then magic Abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having absorbed some or all of its modifiers for itself.
Oh, wow.
This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as
Love
each
that.
modifier
I love
gives
that.
better rewards.
That's great. That's a good
If you are
addition
able
to
kill them
difficulty.
all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed, it reveals a potential reward. Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot.
Okay, nice. I'm liking that.
Areas often contain many pits, with many fissures, and the amount goes up as you progress through the game, getting more intense.
So more incentive to keep grinding through.
It doesn't stop there. When monster mods are absorbed, they have a chance to become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into abyssal modifiers.
This is my girl Huntress, baby.
For example, you defeat this monster with the Mana Siphoner modifier. Their soul is eaten by the pit, and a rare monster emerges. The Mana Siphoner modifier has transformed into Soul Siphoner, and is
Soul
now
Siphoner.
amplified in danger and reward.
Holy.
Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and mechanics. If you defeat a rogue exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn that has multiple abyssal modifiers. Lichborn exiles even
What?
have their own unique jewel they can drop, if you are lucky enough to encounter and kill them.
Sondar, the
If an abyss spawns near a
Lichborn.
boss, killing it will summon a gigantic Giga Larvae creature.
Holy, what the heck is that?
Monsters imprisoned in essences near abyssal pits are affected by the abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items.
What the heck? Juggernaut plate.
So, that's
that?
the bread and butter of the Abyssal League. Kill surface-dwelling monsters, kill the emerging Abyssal, close the fissures, overcome pit encounters,
And gain
reap the
reward.
rewards.
Yeah, that's
There's
awesome.
a lot more to this league, however.
So much incentive to
As you
like
complete
actually
abysses, you can
kill
find
hordes.
ancient pieces of bone, preserved from the remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits.
Nah, jawbone.
You
Ah.
can use this on a rare item to imbue it with abyssal magic, adding a
Ooh.
special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you
Oh.
reveal it? In Act 2 of the campaign, you'll encounter a new area. This area is
Okay, yeah,
overrun
this
by
is definitely
the
new.
Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through
there's
this
more to
area,
explore
you'll
now in
find
Act
the
2.
Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you.
Oh.
So how do you reveal the mods on your abyssal-infused items? Obviously,
drag and
just
drop.
throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers.
Oh, that's so
Once
cool.
you've chosen your desired
That's so
mod,
good.
throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you. These
That's such
modifiers can be
an
ones from the core
amazing
mod pool,
change.
all the way through to specialized
Holy,
modifiers that
that's a
cannot
good
normally
addition.
appear on items. During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful existing mods, but during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items.
Yeah, this would be amazing for
Like this
endgame.
mod for crossbows that allows you to place an additional ballista totem. Or this one that adds spirit to your staff.
Wow, wow, wow,
Or this
wow.
one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills.
Crazy additions.
And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones.
Oh, what?
With a preserved vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights.
That's also amazing.
Here are some examples of those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of.
This is a
With this
remarkable
modifier,
change.
The natural inhabitants of the area
I can't wait to
all
get
spawn
the
to your
endgame then.
abysses.
This is gonna
And
be
there are up
so
to
great
9
for endgame.
additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus. Or this
Flipping
one,
crazy.
which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter, be it either one underground or one that emerges out. There are dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting.
Wow.
That covers the new crafting mechanic.
Okay, so
what's
crafting's got a
Well,
huge buff
We
too.
talked about how when closing pits, you can get abyssal troves. But sometimes when closing an abyss, you'll reveal an underground cavern that leads to the abyssal depths.
Dark domain.
After jumping into the depths, you'll find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead. When underground, every single rare abyssal enemy will have an abyssal modifier. And at the end of the dungeon, you'll even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier.
Ooh, so more
Once you're
reward.
able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find some nice rewards. Aside from the entire area being valuable due to the abyssal modifiers on the monsters, it has its own specific drops too. One example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like
Oh,
Kurgle's Leash.
Nice.
This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them,
Minion
granting
buffs.
unholy might to you both.
Minion fans are eating right now with this one.
Another depth-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting. Additionally, we're adding some new socketables that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ulaman's Gaze,
Ulaman's
which can
Gaze.
be socketed into your armor. These are
Wow.
a bit special, in that
Prevent
you can
3%
only
of
have one
deflected
equipped
damage.
at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects. Think of them as almost a unique socketable for your equipment.
That's really, really good.
In the endgame,
Unique
where you can still
socketables are
find
wild.
depths, you also start to find a different type of underground chamber.
More
In these
chambers?
areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used by commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge Rayclast into a lightless void.
Dude, seeing
Your
the
goal is
monk
simple.
with no weapon and
Kill
him
this
just going
commander and destroy
crazy
the
with his
spire.
hands. Hand-to-hand combat's crazy now.
There are
Actual
4
martial
bosses
artists.
in the Abyss League, and there are some pretty cool uniques available from them. An example is this belt,
Ooh, Darkness Enthroned?
It has 2 sockets.
Wow.
Socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables.
That's crazy.
This
That's
one,
a
for example,
huge
counts as
one.
a helmet. I kind of want one that counts as a body armor. I wonder how rare that one is. You can also find this unique jewel, Undying Hate.
Undying
This
hate.
jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version.
What?
And has multiple depths. The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected.
Holy
allowing you
moly.
to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich.
That is
Now, the
insane.
last thing that Abyssal
What?
commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have
That
with a
just,
random
just
undead
added
finger?
so much more complexity
Well,
and depth
the
to
next
build
time you
crafting
return to the Well
for
of Souls, with the finger in your inventory,
passive tree.
your character will almost feel compelled. To do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right?
So you
what's
come
the
out more
worst that could
powerful.
happen? Well, you will just have to find that one out for yourself.
Wow. Okay.
Along with the introduction of
Dude,
Act
this
4
is
and the
incredible.
interlude, we will be
I'm
adding
very, very
25
impressed
new
right now.
in-game maps.
25
These
in-game
maps will
maps?
contain all the new monsters and bosses we're adding, improving variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new boss fights many times. Let's take a look at some examples. Rock Pools is a map where you explore a shallow rocky coastline, surrounded by coral and filled with sirens. At the end is a giant Goblin King boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug.
Ew. Ew.
Holton is an Ezomite township which has seen better days. Explore and clear the township to find a gothic, Reaper-like boss, with the ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with chaos.
Ooh.
Given some of the new bosses added are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final
Oh.
bosses of each interlude part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them. These start appearing pretty fast into the endgame and will help bridge the gap until you do your pinnacle bosses. In
Wow.
the desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm. 3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause. This presents itself in the form of a boss, similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing the fabric of time itself with his powerful slashes.
That's kind of cool. Animations
In
are
the
wicked
water
there.
biome, you'll encounter a giant maelstrom, where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal vault in the mountain biome. But how do we get inside? Running the adjacent maps to it will yield a key, which you can then use to gain access to this vault. Or
Okay, so you need 2 items
you could
now.
just trade for one, I guess. Use the key to dispel the powerful force field surrounding it, leading to the Vaal Elite and their rewards inside. These all contain Uber versions of the Act 4 boss, and the bosses at the end of each part of the interlude.
Nice.
And each have their own exclusive
Okay,
drop
so
pool of
2
new
bosses at
lineage
once.
supports,
This is
which,
cool.
as
This is
Jonathan
cool.
spoke about earlier, are powerful support gems that modify your skills in pretty crazy ways. As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin
Garukan!
Swordmaster mentioned earlier, we have Garukan's Resolve, which causes your critical strikes to fork, but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable. From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault,
Oh, I remember
we have
Husk.
Bakwate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life. Additionally,
Sounds like a
some maps
berserker
can now
in a way.
spawn summoning circles, a room resembling an Ezomite henge. Activating this henge will spawn bosses. It's as
Ooh.
simple as that. We'll also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work. As the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad, iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more.
Nice. Reverting back.
Like Path of Exile 1, each affix will now be both difficult and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of Waystones
Holy
dropped
moly.
and an additional specific upside attached to it. This means as you roll your map, they will continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better.
That's so good.
For example,
That just makes endgame so much more
frostbitten mod,
rewarding.
which causes enemies to deal cold damage, also increases the rarity of items dropped as its upside. Whereas the of venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on hit, has the upside of granting increased pack size.
Okay.
Some maps will end up having a lot of rarity, some a lot of pack size, and others will just have a mixture of everything. Due
Just
to
more
now having
variety
more
overall.
modifiers granting difficulty, we will of course be reducing the difficulty per modifier to account for this.
I mean, of course, for balance.
So, that's your
Otherwise,
Atlas,
it'd just be
maps, and
overwhelming.
Waystones. But what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points.
Dude, so much
For
fire
example,
on
in the
screen.
case of
Holy
Delirium,
moly
it's
for
simple.
Warrior.
You just need to
Holy
find
moly,
and kill
dude.
one of the bosses in a map, Omniphobia or Kosis. The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content, but we're making some changes to accessibility here too. Currently, access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. This creates a negative feeling where at lower difficulties, instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty.
True.
To address this, each content will now drop splinters,
Oh?
which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the realm gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the splinters into the realm gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost.
Oh,
This
that's
means
nice.
if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content much sooner. into the
Holy, look at all the flipping.
Because these
Pixels
encounters
everywhere.
now just require splinters, their corresponding Atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of them, and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the Atlas. The Arbiter of Ash works a bit differently. Instead of requiring splinters, he still needs crisis fragments. We now have only 2 difficulties of the Arbiter. The first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels. The second, Uber Arbiter, requires calamity fragments. These come from citadel bosses also, but only once you've allocated the maximum number of points in your boss Atlas tree, ensuring those citadels are at their highest difficulty level.
That's awesome.
Since we're talking about
Dude, I'm
pinnacle
so
content,
motivated now to get to
we
end
also
game.
felt that
Like,
the
I mean, I've
leveling
been to
curve in
end
the
game, but I
late
want to
game
get to
was a
like
bit too steep.
end game with this
We've
stuff.
smoothed this out a bit so that it's easier to get to the mid-90s. We've also added some new in-game unique items. Let's take a look at a couple. Thunderfist is a pair of gloves that grants Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting the ability to call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit.
That's awesome
Put
for
simply,
Monk.
Literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning.
That's so cool, dude.
Pair
Monk
this
is gonna
with the
be
aforementioned
eating.
Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat.
Oh, dude, I love
Another
that.
unique we're adding is Henekura's Sight.
Henekura's
Equip
Sight.
this amulet to be granted the power of the Mother of Death herself. This is reflected by granting you a skill called Foresight. While you have Foresight, your dodge roll no longer avoids hits. But instead, being hit while dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time. You'll
Wow.
notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage. This is you seeing that future, as if you hadn't been wearing the amulet.
That is kind of sick.
Ultimately, your in-game experience should be more streamlined, with new
So more
content to
unique,
find.
no more uniques
You'll
to
be able
chase.
invest
That's
in your
good.
Atlas trees sooner, engage with Pinnacle content faster, have less FOMO running said Pinnacle content, reach higher levels easier, and do all of that while finding many new chase in-game items.
Yeah, the end game chase is what I
Talking
really
about
like.
Finding items is one thing. But what
Oh,
about crafting them?
dude, they're still going. They're still cooking.
Taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements. Let's start with essences. which suffered from an issue where the regular essences were effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or excitement that a crafting system should provide. To alleviate these concerns, essences are being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values,
Okay.
meaning you know exactly what you're going to get. We found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade your items.
That is actually a really good change.
For example,
It felt so
there's
limiting.
lesser essence of flames.
Yeah,
which
I
will
felt
be
like I
able
was
to
just...
add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons.
That's good. Because I felt like I was just
Secondly,
hoarding
we're
these
adding
things,
many more tiers.
and it had like no value.
That lesser essence of flames, for example,
But
has a
now there's
regular
more value.
variant
That's good.
and a greater variant too.
Now there's greater incentive to
adding
collect
even
these
more fire
things.
damage with each upgrade.
That's wonderful. This is good.
The
That's a good
intention
change.
of this is so that when you find one early on, you don't worry about holding on to it till later to use on a higher level.
Exactly. That was the problem. You felt like you had to hold on to it
as they come
for
to get
years.
powerful upgrades during the campaign.
Yeah, that's so good. So that way you just have more incentive to use it as
the
you're
highest tier
growing.
of essences, now called perfect essences.
Granox with
function
that
like a
50 gifted
chaos
sub.
orb instead of a regal. So it will replace one of the modifiers on your rare items with the specified mod. Such as this perfect essence of flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The perfect essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful.
So I don't think there's any new weapons. I'm not seeing any
There
new
are
weapons
many
though.
different essences, each with many tiers, covering many of the more core modifiers you'd want on items early on, through to chase specialized ones for in-game. Speaking of in-game, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late in-game crafting projects. You might have noticed that at in-game, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful?
True.
At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation
Oh,
and Perfect Orb of Transmutation.
that's great. Yeah,
These can
because
be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level.
thank goodness.
This is
Because
similar to
hoarding
how
all
you
those
find higher
orbs
tier items on the ground.
is
But for
just
crafting,
crazy. Waste.
These higher tiers will also exist for Orb of Augmentation, Regal Orb,
Oh yeah.
Exalted Orb,
Ooh.
and Chaos Orb.
Oh nice. Okay, I was gonna
Meaning
say
you can
Chaos
get
Orb.
all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a fully completed rare with guaranteed high tier mods.
Thank goodness. That just means you can do things faster.
On top
That's
of these
good.
new core crafting currencies, we wanted to make sure there are powerful crafting bases to use them on. Now in in-game, you can start to find exceptional items.
Exceptional. What's
These are
this?
items that drop at normal rarity and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects.
Ooh.
They can come with extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in.
That's actually good.
And
That's
yes,
huge.
They can be corrupted for yet another socket.
Wow. Okay,
You
that's
can also
huge.
get exceptional unique items.
Okay, these are some cool uniques. What is this?
To add
Oh.
even further to your
Okay, so they
crafting
have gloves
arsenal,
though, which is cool.
We've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual content.
All right,
and
so I'm
removed
definitely
some
gonna be
of the
running
more
monk then.
unimpactful ones that weren't being used.
I'm running monk and
Some of the
huntress
new
this
omens include
particular
the Omen of
league.
the Ancients, which will cause your next orb
Going
of
martial
chance
artist is
not
gonna be
destroy the
crazy.
item, but generate a random unique of the same class.
Ooh.
Or the Omen of Sanctification, which is my new favorite. This will cause your next divine orb used on a rare item to re-roll the values of its modifiers,
Oh.
allowing it to exceed the normal minimum and maximum values.
Okay, that is
Raising the
insane.
ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game.
That just makes it even more
This
busted
omen
then.
will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted ones, so consider carefully when you use this.
But it just
Another
gives you
is the
crazy
Omen
buffs.
Of chaotic monsters, which will cause your next Chaos Orb to re-roll all modifiers on a Waystone, allowing you to fix your maps if you get some modifiers that are not feasible for your build.
Ooh, okay, these are
Besides
huge.
examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters. With the release of Act 4, notably taking place in the Kardori Archipelago, you'll be able
There
to
are
now
so
find
many
a new
things.
currency item.
My brain can only
Inikora's
absorb
Law.
so much.
Inikora, the Kardori goddess of death, has the power of foresight and is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too.
Oh, wow.
For example, You'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is.
That's actually
So,
good.
With all these new
That's a
crafting
huge
improvements,
change.
It's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items, and not necessarily just ones for yourself.
That Hinokora
So
item is
given
really
that,
nice.
It's time to talk about a massive one.
Okay, trade.
Trade.
I don't really do
It's
trading.
Finally here, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Trade.
Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each other in Path of Exile 1 has morphed from using the forums, through to the in-game chat, all the way through to using the website. These systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with each iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves. Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either AFK or just can't be bothered. In order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present.
Oh, that's
They can
good.
continue farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please, and can even be offline.
That's
With the
awesome.
introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter Ange, assistant to Rog in the Meridian Free Traders Company.
Why does she look like a
Over
PS2
the last
character?
2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline,
PS2 pixel character.
Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business.
That's pretty
If
good
you
though.
have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations.
That's a huge trade thing though.
Once invited to your hideout,
The fact that you can do it
she
like
will now
at
serve
any
as
time.
operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire.
Mmm.
So, how does this new system work? In the existing trade system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them.
But now you don't have to, right?
Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you.
That's
Each item
crazy.
must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs.
So for those who are
Once a
playing
price is set,
with trade,
other
then
players will be able
this
to
is
find the item by
massive.
searching for it on the trade website.
Yeah, this is massive
Once
for
the
those who
desired
love
item has
trade.
been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then
And you can just grab what you want.
Immediately purchase the item.
That's
And
sick.
while there, if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's a good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered. You'll notice that as a buyer, on top of the currency the seller set for the price,
It really actually
also
feels
costs
like a
gold
trade
to
market.
purchase an item,
That's really
as
good.
Ange has bills to pay after all.
Because you shouldn't have to always
As a
message the
seller,
person
you'll
or
immediately receive
have
a
them be
notification
online.
when an item of yours is sold. And can
That's so
also
good.
see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency. Just go talk to her, claim your currency, and continue playing at your leisure.
That's wonderful.
As many people
These are
already
massive
acquired
changes to
premium
trade.
stash tabs for the purpose of the trade system, we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs.
It feels like an
to
actual like
merchants
bazaar,
tabs,
like a
if
flea
you
market.
want. You can do that here on the website, but only if you purchase those tabs before the release of the third edict.
Okay, so you have to
To clarify,
purchase
the
first.
existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system.
Of course.
We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you.
As long as
we
they
are
don't
not able
involve
to
real money
test
into trading.
internally
Yeah,
with
I
an
don't think
entire
there's going to be real
thriving
money.
economy, there will certainly be some kinks to work out.
I don't think they've ever added
Based
real
on
money
how the
to it.
system goes, we
At
will
least
be
not to my
adding it
knowledge.
Path of Exile 1 when ready. So any of
But
the
this is a
tabs you
massive
purchase
change for
will
traders.
Also be usable there later.
It really is huge.
Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs.
Okay, now this is where money stuff comes
Today,
in.
we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs. The Justice and Trathan Executioner packs.
This is
Each
the
tier contains the
microtransaction
pack's
stuff.
full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Just cosmetic stuff.
As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way.
That monk one looks nice.
The Justice series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Well, I like the
Claim
curtain.
glory after defeating enemies.
Yeah, this
or
curtain is cool.
Inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal.
300
The
points. It's not
Mystic
bad.
hideout decoration will identify items for you, displaying them as it does so. This ancient creature has been presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality of your wares. Become a true warrior.
This
worthy
looks
of
cool.
delivering the justice
I
of
like
the
this one.
eternal gods with the Apostle of Justice armor
600
set.
points though? That's like what, 60 bucks?
This armor
I
set
think.
also comes with a matching back attachment containing a set of scales to measure your worth.
Yeah, I think this is like 60 bucks for
With the
600
Apostle of Justice
points.
finisher effect equipped, the Goddess of Justice herself will appear to decide on a verdict for slain unique enemies.
That is kind of cool though.
Witness as
I'll
she decides the
admit.
fate of your slain foes. Will they ascend to be amongst the gods or be banished to the underworld?
We got banished.
The Griffin fledgling pet will be your courageous companion as you journey throughout Rayclast.
I actually like the Justice outfit though.
Take your place in the skies in the Plateau of the Gods hideout. This hideout comes with many different sections for setting up your home or base of operations.
Well, I imagine the actual outfit itself will be
In
cheaper,
order
but
to
this is just the
travel
whole
between them,
package.
You simply just need to walk off the edge.
Ooh.
Like a true eternal god, you can float between the mountains on the clouds themselves. The Trathan Executioner pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Trathan Executioner finisher effect is a brutal display of Trathan might.
Squash
Crushing
them.
slain unique enemies as if they were bugs beneath your heel.
Yuck.
As a Trathan Executioner, you're the perfect master for the ever-hungry carrion raptor pet. It has taken a particular liking to the taste of other pets, and at your command it will swoop down and eviscerate them,
Oh gosh.
proceeding to satisfy its hunger by feeding on their corpse.
Oh gosh. That's
The nobles
gruesome.
of the 4 major Trathan
Okay, this is a
houses
nice
had their
skin though, I will
mercenaries,
say.
But if their hired hands became notably irritating, they'd have to call in the Trathan Executioners.
That's a cool skin.
You can now embrace their methods and become brutality
I still like the
incarnate
Justice
with
one
the
more, though.
Cruel Trathan Executioner armor set. The matching Cruel Trathan Executioner
She's
cloak
just
will
leaking
shroud
blood.
you in scarlet as you crush the skulls of your enemies and leave a trail of blood behind you as you build up a kill streak. Or use the alternate variant to simply put a skeleton on your back. Be bathed in blood as you mutilate monsters with the Cruel Trathan Executioner character effect. The swirling blood increases in volume as your spree of slaughter continues. Both this effect and the cloak use the same kill streak for tracking how much blood is shown. After a long and tiring day of executions, enjoy a relaxing game of dice with the Goblin
Dice.
Gambler's Hideout decoration.
Classic game
They'll
of dice.
definitely be playing fair, right? The Pulverizer map device
The heck was
brings a
that?
horrid efficiency to punishing the damned of Trathus. Each map you open
I heard
will
somebody
execute the next
punching their
victim.
mic.
This map device in its true ruthlessness tracks the total number of monsters killed, your kills per second, and your largest kill streak
The
up to
live
the
stream
point
monk
of the
too.
map being completed.
That's kind of cool.
This is then displayed on a leaderboard so you can take a measure of you and your friends' violence at the end of each map.
That's actually a cool little...
Additionally, any
addition.
microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1.
Oh, nice.
That's enough about cosmetics.
All right, Q&A
Let's get
time.
into the Q&A. But
Okay, that's where
I
the
want to
mic
give
is
a
coming
huge
in.
Thank you for your ongoing support.
I'm hearing the boop, 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 boop.
We're just
Someone's
about
punching
to
the
start
mic.
The Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 a.m. NZ time or 4 p.m. Pacific, we'll post Path of Exile 2, the third Edict's patch notes.
Okay, I want to see the patch
With
notes
the
for
release
sure.
at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments.
That's
We're looking
huge.
forward to seeing your experiences with Act 4 and its new bosses, fighting the Abyssal,
There's so much
trying
coming.
new builds, and crafting new items.
There's so
We'll
much
begin
coming
the
in this
Q&A
patch.
shortly, so
It's
please get your questions ready.
actually overwhelming because my brain can only absorb so much. But I'm so happy for all the changes that are coming, especially with Huntress and Monk. Mercenary definitely looks like he got buffed. Like every class got buffed, but Mercenary and Warrior, like they showcased so much Warrior and Mercenary on stream today. Mostly Warrior. But the monk with the martial arts thing now, like the hand-to-hand combat is really nice. I've always wanted to go like full on, just hands off or hands on. Sorry.
Absolutely monumental reveal. We now have
Uh-oh.
a suitably juicy.
Gotta fix the mic, buddy.
for you. Probably like 2 hours or something. So grab a cuppa, grab a snack, and settle in. I'm joined once again by Jonathan and Mark to discuss a lot. The patch that had to fix all the things, right?
That was the goal.
So this is a Q&A time. I mean, I'll likely watch this because I think this is just as important as the reveal itself. Because they're probably going to go into more detail about specifics.
Nerve-wracking for you because there was, I guess it felt like there was a lot of pressure on this one to fix everything.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we've obviously got a lot to prove. You know, we need to make sure that we're like that. Well, put it this way: I wouldn't want people to feel like we
Robot voices.
that we don't have answers to a lot of the things that people have been unhappy about. So you know, like we really try.
Yeah,
to do
like
as
the
much as we
production
can.
right now is kind
We
of
got
struggling.
to kind of do everything. As it didn't get to literally everything, but we got to quite a lot of it, and I'm thinking that people will be a lot happier with this.
And
release.
Ziggy's just like, guys,
Yeah, I was
production?
pretty shocked to see how much was in this one, especially given that you've moved to this kind of like 4 and 2 cycle of.
There you go.
You just feels like you just released the Path of Exile 1 expansion, which also had a lot of pressure. on it.
Yeah, there's so much coming in this one patch. It's actually remarkable how much we're getting
That's
in one big league patch.
So I'm certainly gonna be happy once we finish the campaign because we're gonna be back to
It just sucks that we didn't get any new weapons though. At least not that I've seen. But the new support gems and skills and passive tree upgrades and end game upgrades.
players who
And of course the act is great.
because you've got all of the the new campaign stuff, so it's like a pretty big deal for all that stuff. But
It's really good.
take a bunch of that stuff and move it.
And the game's gonna be free for the weekend. Once the patch drops,
So,
it's free for the weekend.
Quite a good one.
Yeah, I remember early on we had the process actually, we just literally grabbed my whiteboard in my office and we just wrote down every single problem.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's not a strategy we've done to this degree, this methodical.
Audio's kind of low for these guys.
Okay, we have to solve everything on this whiteboard.
Literally
And-
made a tier list up there. Like, this
we
is
had a
T1, this
tier
is
list.
T2.
We
like,
actually fully
yeah.
of every problem, and
Yeah,
you know there were things in there like performance and things that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily the actual game content.
I
and
mean,
all
the
this kind of
very
stuff.
the very one at the top of the list was campaign is a slog, right? Like that. was
Yeah,
the one where we were
campaign
like,
for
go
sure
for
was
that.
the biggest
things
contender.
like that were just like
That thing was just so boring,
The
dude.
reason it ends up being a bit
Having to
nerve-wracking
go
is
through
because we had a goal to
campaign
fix
twice.
all of it, and we didn't get to fix. We aren't fixing literally everything. We're fixing almost a lot. And I'm sure a few new problems introduced here and there. However,
obviously, as we're watching Twitch chat, there was a huge amount of stuff about towers. We had a plan; it was on the list. It just unfortunately we couldn't get time to sort it. So that's one of the. It's probably the notable one, I would say.
Yeah, so we'll kind of discuss around your vision and stuff for Endgame soon as well, so that you can give people some reassurance about like where you want to go with that. But we should also mention just the other elephant in the room, or the lack of the elephant in the room, with the druid.
Yes.
No elephant.
Yeah, no druid.
Kind of works.
Yeah.
So
No elephant for druid.
It's been uniquely challenging to get shipped. It's been something you've been working on for a while now, and just getting it right. What has been the challenge with druid and getting it out?
Well, I mean, okay, so we
Why
started
twice?
believing that
I
we
can
were gonna
barely
be
hear
doing
them.
this version.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
That was the case.
Like,
for
I've
the 2
maxed out
months
the
or
volume.
4 months of development.
It's 100 it's 100 right now.
That we had here, and obviously like a bunch of work had gone on before that as well. But at some point we realized, that we don't want to have.
But the reason why they did campaign twice was because they didn't have the new axe available at the time.
That people had outside of that, right? Because
Their goal was to have all the acts ready for full release, but they still had to
be throwing in a class that's kind of effectively disrupting.
they
that.
still had to
So then what that meant was
manage
someone
and
was like, okay,
maintain
since
other
we don't
aspects of the
believe we can
game,
get both the class
and
all these
some
other
of the
elements,
acts
we wanna
weren't
make
fully
it at the same
completed,
time.
so
It's actually better to cut the class and then have the
they essentially just gave us
so that's what we ended up doing, and obviously it was like a really
double
hard
axe
thing to cut because obviously
to compensate.
have another one without a class, like it feels really terrible.
Yeah,
but
get it.
we've got the philosophy now of like we have to make sure that we're in the release month that we say we're going to be in. So therefore something had to go, and unfortunately that was it. But it means we've obviously got a huge head start for when we actually do it next time. And I mean, look, there was so much stuff that was cut, like even as large as it is, like there's like ascendancies and all sorts of stuff that was gonna be there, and we'll get to it. But more important to just make sure that people are happy.
So yeah,
with
no
the stuff
ascendancies
that's
this
in,
this
and make sure all
this
those
patch,
changes are great,
sadly.
and make sure obviously you've got answers for stuff, right?
I imagine for druid, it's it's a big part of it's just the fact that the shape shifting, getting it looking and feeling.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, no,
is
I mean
probably
it's
really,
a huge
really
deal.
challenging, right?
It's hard. Like there's so much animation stuff.
It
that
didn't
has to go
say
into
progress to
making,
play the new
feel
axe
right,
when they
so,
came
yeah,
out.
Like that, but we'll get there. Like, I don't
Progress
think we're
was
that far away
saved.
from it now, so you know,
It's just
prioritization.
in their eyes, because the acts weren't completed,
Class of all then.
like
Might
in
be,
development,
might be,
basically,
yeah.
they decided to just give
Yeah.
all players the same axe over again.
Through every class
But the
is a
difference is that when you run the axe again, it's on a harder difficulty. So everything is still like saved in terms of your progress. It's just that you're redoing the same act, but on a harder difficulty to get to end game.
To go into full release without having swords, so you know that's
Yes.
that's
It's
kind
a
of a
little
pretty
bit
clear.
It's a little bit criminal to get this far without.
Yeah,
having
to be
swords.
honest, it is. Yeah. So I'd say that
is
would be.
weird when you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
real
So
weird.
It's real weird.
So
What
that
the
would
heck
be
is
an
going
obvious candidate. Is making sure
There you
that
go.
we've
So
got that.
that people can infer from that some sort of duelist or something, most likely being
Yeah.
the sword one.
Yeah.
And as you said, the ascendancies are just kind of the same boat as they weren't. You weren't satisfied with.
Because they're still developing all the acts to make sure they're all in working order for full release.
The list of the things you missed, that and
Right.
and doing something with towers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now we can talk about kind of what you have done. We'll jump into endgame first, since I know
It
people-
sucks though that I
towers
wanted
have
to
been
see
hot
some
topics
new
for people, so
weapons
we'll-
being added, but unfortunately
we'll talk about
that isn't the
endgame.
case.
This wasn't ostensibly supposed to be an endgame update, from what you were telling me, but it still seems like a pretty big endgame update. in
Yeah,
the
it's
end.
a pretty sizable
well, part of that is
update.
because we obviously get all the content that we
Okay, here you go. Now their voice is loud.
We get to make all the in-game versions of that.
Yeah.
That obviously adds quite a lot. But we did want to make sure that we weren't just being like, okay, so we're adding a bunch of bosses. Like, we wanted to make sure that the more epic ones that we added to the campaign have some new mechanic for them on the Atlas as well. So that's where we had those various mechanics with, like the sandstorm and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, those kind of like Atlas events. And it really does contribute to the feeling of exploration to have more of that stuff. And then, of course, once you got that, you start getting into, okay, well, what rewards is it going to drop? Then we started to think we need a new category of rewards that these things can have. And that's, we started to think about the lineage supports and that kind of stuff. So it just ended up kind of adding up to quite a bit in the end. But it isn't like kind of like the big end game change that we wanted to do. Like, we had a design for that, but we just haven't quite got to it.
Their audio is good now.
But it still ends up being quite a lot. And one of the big things that it also, I think, will help bridge is the kind of mid-end game part. Like that's still a problem that we want to improve. But like it adds quite a lot there, because you're seeing that stuff on the Atlas a bit earlier.
What's the problem there as you identify it?
I mean, you've got this issue where effectively, and we are doing some stuff to address this, but effectively you've got like the pinnacles at the end, and you've got like, obviously when you start, you've got a bunch of content, but it doesn't feel like there's those kind of mid-end game goals that you can easily achieve. That's kind of the issue that we're trying to
just
solve.
a lack of direction, right?
Right.
I think
Right.
there's not enough like really guiding you. Like, the narrative kind of falls apart there, right?
Right.
Because it's just
Yeah.
open world, and you want a bit more of telling you where to go, what to do.
Yeah,
and
more
have those
fleshed
goals
out.
Where you're like, I want to do this next and this next, as opposed to like, I could do this or this or this. It's nice to have those, but it's nice to also have the things kind of directing you as to like,
Right.
this is exactly what I want to do.
Right.
The boss I want to get to. So there's kind of just a big gap there. We want to add a whole bunch of stuff in the middle there. We
Yeah,
have a huge
just
plan, but again,
make it
it's
more
like,
make it more concise and
we
clear.
need to you got this working on a campaign, you've got working on the end game, and you got all these like, how do you juggle all of these things? It is brutally difficult, and you end up having to think. So I would expect next expansion to be way more end game centric in terms of fixing all of this, because it was on the whiteboard.
But we did do some stuff with what we had. So like that splinter change, I think, is going to be quite a big one.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like much from what we showed, but what it does mean is that you've got pinnacle fights earlier in your in the experience, and of course you've got the thing where we're making it make more sense with regard to the difficulty, the access to the different difficulties, by having it so that it's cheaper to get to the lower tier ones. So that helps quite a lot, and I think that'll improve things quite a lot.
Yeah,
from that.
that's just like a greater incentive to like
now and endgame.
chase toward
and of course
endgame.
there's a league there too.
The wisps were wisps. Sure, wasn't really a league. It's kind of just like,
A lot of the changes ensure
not
that
really
players can get to endgame a lot faster and experience it.
I mean,
It was very slow in the beginning.
I mean, having abyss in every single area. There are abyssal icons you can find on the map. You can't add them because they are in every area, the abyss. So, and you have different the waystone crafting and stuff like that. So there's a lot of end game just added by the league's existence as well.
Plus a lot more combination of the league mechanic with other mechanics as well, which is something that I'm always keen for with leagues, is like have a bit more interaction.
Yeah,
So,
you were telling me that you had specifically made it so that Abyss would have specific interactions with basically everything else.
For sure.
Like if a rogue exile's standing there, you get a special boss based on the rogue exile. So that's a rather interesting extra combination stuff there. It is interesting because this is a league mechanic. It's in every zone. It's guaranteed. That's part of a league mechanic. But does this also have like Atlas tree integration in the way that it would later on as it becomes like a core element?
No, not the way that's kind of handled is through some of the waystone crafting.
Yeah.
We, depending when the league ends, you know, we obviously do the whole, again, more for people who maybe don't know what a league is and how we handle this stuff in POE1. I'll over-explain it a little bit. But yeah, generally we review the state of it at the end. We see what changes we want to make. Sometimes we add it to the core game immediately, sometimes later. And then we add it to the tree and decide how we want to invest into all the different things. But we try and have the meta progression, so to speak, of a league within the leagues itself and not connected to the like core tree. Because you could have a separate tree. It is a thing you could do. But in this case, it comes in the form of the waystone crafting.
You did an experiment with that recently in Path of Exile 1, doing that in a league.
I do like the interior.
Different because it's not a separate tree, and that was during Necropolis, yes, and you felt like because it's in every area, you have to take it.
Very green.
So that didn't
very
work.
nature-esque in the
We're not gonna
background.
repeat that mistake. It could be a separate tree, but I just did it through the waystone crafting stuff instead, and you can invest in the Abyss and juice the Abyss that way. And
I mean, we'll see how we fold it all in as we go into
That
the
mercenary
therefore,
poster in the back is really nice.
All right. Well, one of the kind of like, I guess, endgame issues that I've identified in the past was kind of how the Atlas trees worked and progressed and what they afforded. And it felt very top heavy. Like you had to beat the boss to get points to just scale.
Well,
the
that's
boss
what I'm talking
difficulty.
about with the lack of mid-game stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's changed now, though. Like the league mechanics don't scale difficulty of bosses at all. They're just about what the content is in maps.
Yeah,
right?
and you get the points way earlier. So, in fact, you even...
some of them, we made some changes to that actually as well since last night. And thus it wasn't in the live stream accurately. It was talking about how you have to complete specific objectives like killing the Delirium boss and whatnot to get your points. It's actually just now you follow the quest line, and there's a point in where you get the tablet, which is after you find the league and you kill the, just do a Delirium, you successfully go back and get a tablet. You're also going to get the first 2 points there. Now I wanted to change it so that you can get like, if we have 8 points, you get 4 points before the pinnacles and 4 points from the pinnacles. Right
This is a lot of end game stuff, so
we're still looking at this just because we made a change last night. There's a
it's
good
a lot.
chance we
It's a
might
lot
end
to
up,
swallow for end game,
adapting
but
this a little bit
I think
more.
it's
So
still
it's
good.
the first 2 points come even sooner and even more obviously. Like you don't have to
Because
RNG
it just makes end game so much more rewarding and satisfying to play.
No longer going to be the case.
But we just want to really make sure we're smoothing that progression through, getting that stuff earlier, all that sort of stuff.
Because like when I got to end game, I didn't feel like super motivated to get to like higher levels.
Actually, I felt we're
Like I got to like maybe level 70 and then I just kind of stopped. Like the motivation wasn't high enough, but now it seems like the motivation is there.
Using them as an exploration feature worked quite
It's like
well.
there's a greater incentive and desire to want to actually pursue endgame.
And that helps with that mid-game issue you were talking about. Is that kind of the goal, is to make this like really exploration focused?
It's certainly something that I really love, and the more things you add to the Atlas, the more it feels like you're finding things. But yeah, so we definitely appreciate the concern with towers being that you've got this tension between having to turtle in one location versus explore.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we need to look into addressing. But I don't want to kind of like talk explicitly about exactly what we're going to do here, just because there's like obviously a lot in flux there still. But yeah, it's something that we understand the problem, I would say. I would understand that there's an issue, and so yeah, we will be addressing that a bit later.
Yes, the brand name of towers seems somewhat marred currently. Like it seems like almost no matter what you do with them, there's going to be some sort of maybe just delete towers because we have the bad association with it.
That is a
What is
concern, but I
the
suspect
major
that we'll still
contributor
want
to you
keep them
wanting
at
to do
least
more
for
endgame
disclosure.
now?
Like even if we remove the
So-
mechanic and do other stuff, like we'll just keep them there.
Before-
I still think
I'll
it's
try
fun to
and
just
turn
find a
this
tower
down.
just to get a circle of vision around it. So I don't
So,
think that's
like,
the part that people are unhappy
Before,
about with them. So,
for me in
fine
endgame,
to keep that and move like other power sources
one of
and other things
the
we can do
setbacks
I
was
like the empowering the maps because
the maps themselves at times felt
Well,
really
I mean, I
repetitive,
still want something that
and
does that.
within
It's
that
something that we can do
repetition,
differently
there wasn't a lot of reward for you to do the same map again. And some of those issues were fixed, but a lot of the stressing issues was just the lack of variety when it came to endgame.
those things.
and there was less in like
you're wasting time.
my fundamental
like the
issue with
investment
them
that you were
is the
putting
way
into
that you
endgame
know that something
didn't
sucks
feel
before you even
really
run it, and that's
satisfying
always bad.
because a lot of
Like,
the
effectively,
rewards you
it's like,
got
okay,
weren't
like,
as
if you're running maps
fulfilling.
and you have a tower around them, you're like, okay, well I know this is bad, or
and so they're talking about towers, and these towers are like what kind of grant you kind of more incentive to keep playing because there's just so much more value.
Okay, well I feel bad running
But because so much of the maps in previous patches were just so lacking, you didn't want to like grind any harder because you knew that the rewards long term weren't going to be as fulfilling. So you might as well just stop because there's no point in going further to grind because the chase wasn't sufficient enough. But now, because there's a lot more being added in terms of like the Atlas, in terms of the pinnacles, there's more uniques to chase, and there's more exploration. There's more variety in how you can play the end game now. It now feels like there's greater incentive to want to pursue the end game now.
Like I think the core problem is to do with the fact that like you don't like you know when it already sucks, as I said. Like it's just kind of like that that thing there. So
like it just felt very draining before, but now with all these new changes, it really gives you he's like give you more control,
something along those lines,
more variance,
so that you don't have this feeling of like because of because of a thing I can already see that sucks. That this experience is going to be worse than what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So somewhat related to this, another thing I see brought up all the time is being able to kind of choose what map you're doing and just being able to exert more elements of control. I saw a post in chat just there that was like the idea of being able to kind of erect a tower where you want it, rather like this element of like being able to choose your maps a little bit more, or have a bit more influence on what's happening.
So I think having control over what content is there is good, but I don't know that I want to lose the fact that you still have the Atlas fundamentally where you like the actual map areas you get are random, and part of the reason for that is that it gives us a lot of opportunities to do interesting things with like different maps can have different things that they drop and other stuff like that. Like there's a lot of that sort of stuff that's like quite nice. Like you can actually have a unique map be way more powerful if like it's kind of you don't know exactly when you'll encounter it. So that kind of stuff is quite nice, and we want to do a lot more as well on the Atlas, like just more stuff to find. Like when we get to 040, I really want it to be that like you really feel like there's just cool stuff in every map that you might be finding that's like that's way more interesting.
Yeah,
and
that's the biggest contributor.
The problem is if you have full control over literally being able to run the same map every single time, like the same like base area, it means that you don't have the ability to say, okay, well this map can randomly have this thing that's just like really awesome that always drops a unique or something like that, because then you're just going to run that map over and over and over. So I still like some ability to have to find the good stuff.
The discovery, the discovery is the
mechanics you can spawn there and that kind of stuff, and
the positive
like,
part.
Not having the experience of like if I didn't get this exact overlap, then I have this bad experience.
And that's where exploration actually comes from as well, is having some element of not having that control as well. So maybe it is the case more of just juicing up that exploration aspect of it even more. Right. Anyway, that's what it already felt like a big improvement with that last one, and we're getting the new maps and the new mechanics and things.
Yeah, the new maps and the mechanics add so much more.
So it seems like there's a fair bit more going on.
The main point, like we're done.
So much more meat.
100%
end game.
And
and then of course the new act is also wonderful now, and the interludes.
We focus more on everything.
Because now they've removed the repetitiveness of the cruel difficulty.
Content there.
Now you just have Act 4 and interludes, which is fantastic.
We wish Towers was in that list, but it will be. Don't worry.
So now the beginning will feel the beginning will feel great, mid game will feel great, and then end game will be that much greater now.
And,
like these are wonderful
We're going
changes.
to be getting a chance to experience some stuff they didn't experience because it came later in last league, and maybe they had tapped out before then. So there's a good bit of extra stuff to explore there, maybe with this.
Yeah,
one.
the extra stuff to explore is always great.
More questions that they post and that we pull from the chat, but we'll move on to the Act 4 and the interludes, because that's
this is a huge one.
Thing.
The Act 4 interludes is great.
Getting rid of Cruel was a priority. You wanted to do that as soon as possible. There's been this problem that you were laboring over for many months.
That was the most annoying, This part is the most annoying for me. It really just drained me
the
on
rest of
so
the
many
Exile
levels.
months, or do something
Like trying to
weird.
run multiple multiple builds and having to go through the same act, the same time.
So,
It's like
there was
over and over
certainly some
again. It was
skepticism when I first
so
proposed this.
boring.
About like, how can we possibly
But
do
now
that?
having Act 4
but,
is great.
Basically, the main thing there was that like, okay, so the interludes are not exactly the same as an act in terms of like, you know, like each one of them is like, you know, a straight line, like you're going from here to here. There's no like, you know, like different, there's no complexity around the plot or anything. It's just like a single goal of like, you know, someone's telling you to do this, go deal with it.
Yeah, it's like a side
there's bosses
mission
along the way. You know, there's new areas along the way, but all of that stuff we can use in in-game as well. So that means we're not kind of wasting any of the arts. The only thing we're really wasting is like a kind of like a you know, like a little bit of like storyline structure around it. But as I said, it's not nearly the same level of like narrative structure as what you get in like a full act. And that's something.
Yeah,
that,
so Act 4 just acts as
what we realize is
the main core foundation of the lore, and then the interludes just act as like a kind of like a primer
to bridge that gap.
Yeah, they're
And,
bridging
so
the
that
gap,
means that
exactly.
I was like, you know what, like with like 20 areas, I reckon we can do it if we're like, you know, we're using a few mechanics from maps, we're taking some, you know, we're doing a lot of art.
Because the
reuse,
interlude is like
that
a
kind of stuff.
segue
We can-
into
we
the
can
end
find a
game.
way to make something pretty quick, and it won't necessarily hold up for like years and years, but it will certainly be good enough for you know, just like for a relatively short period of time. And by the time you get to that point anyway, like you're usually pretty fast as a character. You're like rushing through, you know, just to get to end game. So
Yep, exactly.
I think that, that'll end up being like like
That's a
pretty
wonderful
damn good for the
change.
time being. Plus, you know, new bosses, new stuff to experience. Like, you know, in my opinion, it was a no-brainer to do it compared to
Absolutely.
some weird thing like having to repeat Act 1 and 2 again or something weird like
Yeah,
that. That just
don't do
would've
that.
been good. And we really wanted to get rid of Crawl. I mean, like, we never wanted Crawl to exist, right? It existed as a compromise.
Yeah, it was just a placeholder
being
basically,
able to
which
get rid of it is,
understandable
obviously,
because
you know,
we're working
something
on the
very,
acts,
very
but
keen to do.
There was something.
it was just not really worth
you
it.
get to the Act 1 crawl, and you're like, I've know all this content, you're ultra powerful, and that's a little bit feel good. And then you're like, ugh, doing all this again.
Wears off quickly,
You know, it's just like a little bit like, just, you know, you can do it. You know, at that point, you're like, just get me to end game. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
you know,
exactly.
whereas when you're playing through, you know, the new acts, like, it feels, well, with Act 4 and the interlude, it feels just a lot more natural and, you know, still fun, and you're discovering stuff, and you know,
Right,
it's not that
exactly.
just like, I just did this, like, you know, at least for fast players as well, they're gonna be like, oh my god, I just did this like a few hours ago.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, it's like
That was the
it's too
biggest
short of a
problem.
time. Where
At least
but
with the
one
new
thing about
act and
Act 4 and
interludes,
interlude,
it's
by the
still,
way,
you
which I
know,
think is
you
really
may have
cool,
to
which is
repeat
very
it
different,
with
and,
multiple
something,
characters, but at the
you know,
very
you really
least,
appreciate
you're still
until you
gonna
is you get
you're
to
gonna
Act 4
discover
and you're
something
like,
fresh along the way.
okay, where do I go? Well, I have many places I can pick. I mean, Jonathan was talking about how, you know, their kind of interludes are kind of straight lines, but there's three of them.
But there's three of them. You can do them in any order.
There's a choice immediately there, right?
You can do those in
Yep,
any
you
order.
do them in any
You
order.
can do
you
them
like.
in any order. When you
That's
complete,
sick.
When you complete one or partially complete one, it levels up the other two. They always stay, you know, ahead, and they bridge the gaps. You can do them in whatever order you want.
It'll be
That's
interesting
amazing.
to see the speedrunning strategies, because like there's different
Yes.
bonuses available.
Like the spirit draft comes from one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, where another might be more passive point heavy, and another might be more permanent bonus heavy, and another.
That's
you know,
great.
like, there's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's
going on
awesome.
there. So you go in Act 4, where you've got full freedom of like choice of which island you want to sail to, and then you go into the interlude, and you're like, which part would serve me best? And maybe the answer is do a couple areas of this part, and then swap to another and do that one, and then, you know, like, who knows? Which is fine, because again, as you
This is,
progress
again,
through
greater
them
variance.
and defeat the bosses, the other ones will level up and keep up with the level. So
Absolutely.
you can do
I love
half
that.
of each, and then do the half of each again. You can do an area of each, and then, you know.
That's wild.
And that makes the adventure towards endgame more
I was
satisfying.
planning on asking about how the fact that Act 4 is like a sandbox for like the great portion of it there. And that's going to be super interesting from like racing and speedrunning perspective as to what people take. But also that
Yeah,
does
it's more
seem like it might
creativity.
help with, the campaign slog, you know, the repetitiveness of it if you can kind of do things in a different order each time. Is there some good reasons to do it in different orders as well? Like you mentioned, like differences in rewards, differences in challenges too, I imagine, for different builds.
Yeah, for sure. So, like the reward thing is like probably the main reason you'd change the order, depending on what's going to work best for your character right now. So yeah, each one's got stuff that you know, like we're taking all the different fixed bonuses. I think that actually the fixed bonuses are different.
That's awesome. So even if you run the game again with a different class,
Yeah.
You'll
have to decide
but the other bonuses
how you want to do
like,
the story.
you know, we'll still have the resistances that you got before, but some of the other bonuses from, like, for example, Crawls, the snake in Act 3, I can't remember the name of these areas. We have internal names, the old snake chamber. The reward from that will be slightly different because not all 3 of those options are available, and they're available in different ways. Some of it might be, some of it might not be, and some of it will be in Act 4, some of it might be in the interlude, you know. So it's kind of mix and match all over the place, but there's some pretty cool stuff in the interludes that, you know, that you've obviously got your permanent bonuses, you've got your skill points, you've got just like which bosses do I want to do first or last. That's all nice, but you have a little other things subtle. You know, like the first area of one of them, I'm gonna be as spoiler light as possible here, has a wandering vendor that sells, you know, guaranteed rare caster gear, and you can go and be like, I'm gonna go there, check that if I'm a caster, and then I'll go to the other 2 acts because that might have like a straight up weapon upgrade.
Okay, so casters,
another act that sells a whole
more
bunch of
incentive to
greater
play
runes.
casters.
So you might be
Okay,
like, I need some runes. I'm going to go there, find that vendor, get some runes, and then go to another. And then one of them has, and you're going to have to find this for yourself. One of them has a nameless seer in it, and so go for it. Find that. I'm not going to tell you which.
So you go in advance some of these rewards so that you can make this decision. Like maybe not those kind of secret ones.
I
But
think it doesn't. Does it say it on the? Does it show it to you on the world map?
You generally see the icons on the world map up to the point your character and the NPCs could reasonably know about.
Okay.
So it depends on the act a little bit. In some cases, it's like no humans have been there, so you can't know until you've opened it, and then it will, or until you have been told about it or know about it or advanced the quest, and now you see all the icons. So, some yes, some not, and
It'll be a bit of a discovery process.
But like, look, it's gonna players are gonna share information pretty damn quickly.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's actually quite fun having all this different choice and different axes. And
Yeah, the different choices are great.
Of, like, sure, you've got Path of Exile 1, Act 2 is go left or go right, and you got a little bit of that in like Act 8, but you don't. Yeah, get this much like parallel things going on like this in a kind of interesting way. So it'll be. I suspect it'll actually last a little bit longer than we anticipate, given how, you know, we had to put this kind of 3-part thing together so quickly.
Last a bit longer in terms of like players finding it fresh and interesting.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Okay. Good.
The all 3 interludes kind of appear on one world map, so you kind of got 3 parallel tracks you can see on one map.
Cool.
I'm excited for this. I really am. I'm excited for the interludes now,
Decision paralysis.
and just the overall act itself.
I think a lot of people will just pick one just because it's the first one.
Yeah,
Probably,
left to right.
I bet that'll be the most common
You'll
choice.
see stats on that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, 60% pick rate for the first option.
Yeah, probably.
Left to right's most likely. Yeah.
That's right. It makes sense.
The order of the islands in Act 4 a little bit less predictable.
Yeah.
You know, one of those islands, like, you know, there's four permanent bonuses kind of going on in one area, kind of thing. It's like a, you know, because
Go there first.
I'm not going to tell you which ones. But
He's got to hold his tongue a little bit.
Figure it out.
Make the progression guides. But I like the idea that it could be different for different builds too.
Yeah, exactly. So different builds will incentivize you to travel around the world differently. That's good.
It doesn't just get kind of immediately solved.
Yeah, that's great.
So Act 4 was planned to have a new way of ascending, but that wasn't mentioned here. So it's not quite ready yet.
Didn't quite get time for it.
Damn.
Coming a bit later.
Yeah, it
but,
sucks.
You can still. There's still a quest to go to the place where that is happening. But and we added like a kind of another reward there. You know, just for the time being.
Yeah.
But yeah, later on there'll be that. The amount of work required to make that trial just unfortunately wasn't quite compatible with making all of the other stuff we made.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much coming in this patch.
We would have been able to do it. But
Like, there's
I think the
already
was
such
more
a
important just to keep control,
huge
so,
amount
we ended up
of
making
content
it,
already.
But we'll get to it.
Thank goodness. I'm like so stoked Cool's gone.
It's if it's what most of us imagine it's going to be, I can imagine where a lot of that work comes in. So hopefully you guys, is it something that you'd like to get ready for next league then, it sounds like?
Well, I don't want to promise anything because at this point
fair
we're
enough.
in the mode of like we'll cut stuff if we need to make the release happen. So I wouldn't want to promise anything, but you know, that would be nice. We'll just have to see.
I guess the other question then is, do you think it'll be like different enough and appealing to people who don't necessarly want to ascend the other ways?
Well, it's certainly different than the other ones by a very significant margin. So I think that'll be interesting.
And
I'm kind of sad though, because I wanted to ascend.
Long term.
I wanted to see a new ascendancy for
in Act
Huntress,
2,
but
and then
that's
again
fine.
in Act 3, and
I
then
have
again in
more
Act
reason
4.
now to just run
you
Ritualist
will
with
be
my
able to do it
Huntress.
that way, but if
That
you
way.
want to do other, I mean, yeah, that's a way to do it. But if you want to, just if you like a certain trial better, doing it that way is also fine too.
It's just interesting because there's like not as much of a gap as there usually is between those first 6
Guess not.
months that way.
I
Like they're
guess
quite
not.
rapid fire. So and then it would be a big gap until the end game, and you do
Yeah,
your
yeah.
choice of fourth
But,
one.
yeah, I mean, I guess we see that as fine. Like you kind of want to get your build locked in to some degree by the time you get to that sort of
I
level.
kind of like it. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like different to how it's been done in the past before,
Right,
right?
right.
Where we had, whereas like right at end game, you did that third
Yeah.
one. So that's interesting stuff. So a big part of this obviously is then continuing the campaign slog kind of discussion was just the speed of the campaign, how that tied in with difficulty, zone sizes, and things like that. You guys did a whole bunch of big changes a couple weeks into the
Yeah.
last league where you reduced zone sizes.
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
like
So we
that.
did a bit of that. That's one of those things that's a bit hard to.
Yeah, I
see
think that was
exactly
also
until
another
you've played it
issue
a
when
couple
it came
times.
to
So
the
like,
acts,
for example,
and then
now,
feeling
like,
so
the
repetitive
first
and drawn
time you
out,
played
where the
through it
zones
before,
were
like,
like
you'd be worried
relatively
about zone
large.
size.
So it made the
Second
game
time,
feel
then, like,
longer
maybe
than it
you
should
start to
have,
realise, like,
making
what places
rerunning
are
the
too
game
big and what places
so
aren't. So,
boring.
there'll probably be a
So
little bit of
reducing
adjustments
some of the
there,
zones
as we do the
as
first
you
couple of
progressed,
matches,
it was good.
In 030 as well.
So
Just 'cause,
we'll
like,
see
as I
what
said,
they
it's
do
actually a
with
bit
the
hard to
new zones
appreciate
in
until
Act
you've kind
4.
of played it a few times. But the sprint helps a lot. Like sprint is a
Yeah,
big
that
deal
sprint
as far as, like,
change is
changing how the
huge.
game, feels in this
Being able
regard.
to
So,
sprint now in the
if
game
you're
is
fast and you know how to
incredible.
use it well and that kind of stuff. You can motor quite a lot more than you were.
Yeah,
It'll be
that's going to
interesting
be
to see
crazy.
How, like how many people are using that all the time versus how many people are
I've been
kind of just
using it
using
all the time.
You have, well, yeah, but the thing is, you're an experienced POE player, right? Like you're gonna be
But
like
like,
that.
there's a fun risk reward to using it that way.
Yeah, because if you get hit while you sprint, you're dead.
Or like backtrack or something because you go the wrong way or something like that, then it's pretty cruisy.
Because when they showed it off in this in
It
the
also is a
live
very
stream, it was
powerful,
crazy.
like, combat tool. You can use it like a boss is doing something, you can get further away than you could before.
For boss stuff, you can, although it is dangerous, right? Like,
Yeah.
If
If they hit you, they're dead.
Yeah. But I think the thing that I find kind of interesting about it as well is that like you can skip monsters now more
Yes.
easily,
Yep.
and that means that if you are overpowered due to getting a good item drop or something like that, you can kind of like motor through a couple of areas a bit more, like sort of then catch up to the point where you sort of feel about right as far as the difficulty. And
Yeah,
then
you can
go
just
from
skip a
there,
few
like,
things that you
more
don't need to,
specifically. So
which is good.
You've got that kind of tool at your disposal. Not something I'd expect like new players to do, or like players who kind of don't want to engage with that stuff. But if you're talking about like like the person who's playing through the campaign the fifth time,
Yeah.
certainly that's an option that you've got that can kind of speed you through a little.
Yeah,
bit
that's
faster.
wonderful, yeah. That's a wonderful
something
thing.
as well that it kind of does, just because you are faster than basically everything. So you can skip past them if
There
you want.
were a bit of like good players, like knowledge players knew how to move a lot quicker. There's a bunch of skills. You get animation cancelling. You got shield charge.
It's
and
true. It's
blink
true.
and-
The speedrunners already have a way, but like someone really want. Like, obviously, you don't want to be doing that all the time, right? Like, unless
Yeah,
you're
not
really
everybody can do
dedicated
it.
to speedrunning. So.
niche,
yeah,
unintuitive, and
exactly.
whatnot. So like there's a simpler way to now close the gap between the players. Who
Yeah,
knew
the
all of that and
speedrunners
the
obviously
ones
can
who
can
and,
do all the cool
which is
tech stuff, but
great. And maybe a lot of those players are still using all of those tools even on top
Yeah.
of this, and that's fine.
I actually wonder if like the sprinting is faster than like the shield charge, dodge roll, animation cancel shenanigans.
Haven't exactly done a race.
Yeah.
I
might
think
get
it's
a chance
close.
to.
I'm pretty sure it's relatively close though.
Yeah, well, the difference there.
There's I know there's some passives in the deck side of the tree for like slightly increasing your speed while sprinting, and a few other different things while sprinting, like increasing your evasion while sprinting, and so there's some of that going on as well. That maybe when you speak into all that, you have a more of an advantage over those other skills. We'll see.
Actually buffed dodge roll a bit for the sprint too. Like
Yes.
you can turn a bit better
Yes.
for longer during the
Yes,
dodge roll.
you can. So that one was, man, I'll tell you what. So this is kind of inside baseball stuff, but sprint was like way harder to implement than you might expect. Like it seems like, oh, you just add a speed buff, but like getting it to be smooth and like feel right, and like all of the stuff around like the turning at the end and like all that stuff, that was really, really hard to do. Like it was like there was like a programmer for a very long time just working on sprint issues. Like holy crap.
that sprinting
like, it's one of
edition
those
is going to
things
be a
that,
really, really great change though,
every
even
little
for casual
thing
players, I
seems to do it
think.
so often.
We just want to like get towards the end of the game. I think sprinting's going to be great.
Speed and dodge roll distance in Sanctum.
Because now you can dodge and you can sprint around, and
I was testing earlier. And
Right, okay.
It's so fun.
and it doesn't change the actual like pace of the game, like the way that everything feels more intuitive and visceral. Like it just makes you move faster, so you can get through content a little bit quicker.
We've improved.
The mobilities is
even
better.
Outside of that, it's like talking about sprint, slog, fast. Like there's more to it. There's
for sure.
obviously dodge rolling has improved. The mercenary, like slow while reloading, but also something like Jonathan and I both just randomly did one day, just logged in on live. We played mercenary, and we were both just like,
What happened?
"What did we do? What has gone on here?
What
This
happened?
feels terrible."
It was the 0-0 change that related to like contact points.
Mercenary didn't feel that great for a
Yeah,
while.
so
I'll be honest.
It wasn't actually feeling like how it felt before we released.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh crap, we need to. Fix
But these
this,
changes really
something,
do
went
buff
wrong
Mercenary a
recently.
lot. Like it feels like Mercenary is going to get massive
that
buffs.
one really improved it. But we also made a change where you're a little bit faster coming out of when you're using a
Like
skill
your
on
run and gun is going to be
you're a
so
little bit faster
crazy.
coming out on all classes. So that actually affects the Ranger and the Sork as well a little bit. It's not like at first it seems quite subtle. Like but when you play it side by side, it actually makes quite a difference, even though it's a relatively subtle change. Like it worked as well. And then you've got things like with the block being faster, like you're just overall more mobile, with a lot of the stuff. Like I think it's helped a lot. But the nice thing is like we still didn't have to compromise on like making sure the combat still was right. So that's obviously been like a big worry, especially because there's so many other buffs and things for other character classes. Like there is definitely a concern that we've like overcooked, gone too far. Like things are, like things are going to be too easy, and I'm a bit worried about it. But I think it should be okay. We just have to. You
mentioned like the way you've designed this, not meaning you didn't have to compromise on like combat and that, and that was a big hesitance for you. Like you really wanted combat to be not optional in the past. You were talking about before,
for sure.
and things like that. So why does it feel like the way you designed this lets you not compromise on that vision?
Because ultimately, the actual combat itself still works after trying it. Like. And generally speaking, like even though I may not necessarily agree with something, I'm still willing to try these things. So we tried it; it works. That's really what it comes down to, right?
Trial and error.
That as long as that's the case, then then I'm cool with it. I just want to make sure that we don't end up in a situation where we're just it's all just like. Even during the campaign, it's just one button, don't have to worry about anything, like there's no challenge anywhere, like that kind of stuff, because I just find that boring. I just don't enjoy it at all. Like I feel like you need to have some level of like actually having to think once in a while, during a boss fight or something like that. So there just has to be a little
use your
bit
brain.
Now, sometimes it can be the situation where
this was a good compromise, like 100%. It again, he spoke about how long it took for this programmer to work through it, let alone there's heaps of iterations with these kind of things, trying to keep things feel grounded, kinetic, realistic, that kind of stuff. So you're not just like, and animation wise as well, there's a whole bunch. So, when you're taking a chance on a thing like that and, it feels like a compromise and you're uneasy about it, I'm glad we did pull the trigger on this one and give it a go, because sometimes it is like knowing how much resources this is going to take. If this fails, it's a massive waste.
Well,
for
there
sure.
was another one that was like hugely contentious, which was removing the limit of 1 per support gem. Was something that took a bit of convincing to even get people to want to try out. Like that was definitely a worry. Like the concern there is just that, isn't it just going to be that everyone's running the 5 same supports on every single thing? But I was kind of like the amount of, I think what we're losing over this is much worse than what we were gaining. Like it's something really important, and so I actually
because it gives you more build diversity.
I think it's really
the support gem. The support gem changes were great.
The most important change we're making in 030. I mean, obviously you got a bunch of content, but like in terms of like what single thing is going to affect gameplay the most, like in terms of character builds and like build variety. That change is
that is the most important, because otherwise the game just becomes stale. And you end up with the same builds across every single class, and you don't really have the incentive to build anything better. But at least now with the support gem additions and giving them more diversity, now builds can be so much more diverse. Like no builds will ever feel relatively the same. Like there'll always be some difference.
It feels like it kind of just lets you use it on 2 skills, like something like Fist of War.
Yeah,
and that's just a really big improvement. Like that's a lot more fun having 2 Fist of War skills than one. But like the skill design is nuanced enough, and the supports themselves are nuanced enough that you do still seem like you end up with a lot of variety.
Yeah, it definitely works. Like it's funny because in the end, it feels like the concern that we had was more theoretical than it actually was real, and that's why it's really important to actually try these things.
For sure.
So, yeah. Like, and I would say that if the supports and skills were designed like how POE1 was, then you totally would have ended up in exactly the place that we were worried about.
Right, yeah.
But because there's a lot more going on with the way the skills, or just like there's a lot more thought being put into like the exact ways that skills interact in POE2, you kind of end up being fine, and it just ends up being better. So yeah, like I'm really glad we tried that one because yeah, it's super important.
Yeah, and it seems like lineage supports take over the role of this one gem a bit more.
They do. So basically, right at the end, you've got the thing where you can only have one of each lineage support per character, but that's kind of like none of those are like okay. So you know. Something like multiple projectiles or martial tempo, like these things are super important to kind of make skills even viable at endgame.
Yeah.
Whereas the lineage supports don't have that same thing. So we effectively get to keep a little bit of that like interesting decision stuff, but only right at the end when you're kind of at the top end and you're thinking about like hyper optimizing.
There's so much to absorb right now, information-wise.
So we still get to retain a little bit of that there.
My brain is still trying to absorb every single detail.
Change, like,
Yeah.
I've been playing Warrior, and I almost feel like saying the new Warrior because
New Warrior.
any one specific thing, like the support gem change, the sprinting change, the fast.
Man, I should have like I should have a patent for my name, man. New Warrior.
Weapon swap instant.
Weapon swap thing.
Should trademark that now.
That's like,
Pay me, man.
It's the sum of all these small individual things, and honestly, it was quite hard to design the live stream what we were showing for this reason because it's like it kind of ended up being just like a huge scatter shot of like all sorts of little things, and it's sort of hard to appreciate the sum of it all, like adding up to a much better experience. But I mean, obviously, there's like really big things, like you've got the infusion stuff on the Sork, which is like like radically, visibly, obviously changing the class. But it's like when I'm making a case for like why is the warrior better, it's kind of like you got a few new skills, you got like a few different mechanics, but like together it just kind of comes into something that's like way better than it was.
Yeah, I've spent the better part of 2 days trying to put my finger on what it is exactly that is making that. Because you were asking me like whether I'm worried that the warrior is a bit too strong. And
I mean,
like,
Warrior was
definitely
showcased a
stronger,
lot.
but I'm trying to figure out what it is exactly, and it's like a bit that, a bit this.
Yeah.
But,
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Definitely feels like way more fluid, faster, smoother. chunkier
Yeah,
all at the same time, 'cause,
I
you know,
will say that
Fist of
it
War
definitely
skills
did
going
feel
on.
clunky at times for
Like
Warrior,
the
and a
instant
bit inconsistent when it came to
weapon
some of
swap
his
is used as well. That
abilities.
seems like a pretty minor change, but all of a sudden you're not thinking about like there's no reason to not.
Right.
There's no-
There's no reason removing all the reasons why people wouldn't use combos is exactly the focus that we had for a lot of the stuff, right? It's like, what is preventing someone doing a combo here? What can we do to fix it? So you've got like the shock change where that's longer. You've got like the change to chill and that kind of stuff. And oh yeah, there was a whole like thing with, we never even talked about Ignite because there kind of wasn't room for it. But Ignite has got a whole different thing where that it does now, where there's like every time you fail to ignite, it builds up flammability. That means your next ignite is more likely.
Ooh.
And so there's like that. There's like a bunch of changes just all through.
Well, that's good because one of the changes that I've always wanted was Ignite.
Is the thing with the curse and the what do you call them? The thing that lowers resistances. What the hell?
Exposure, yeah.
So exposures, right? Like it seems so tiny. Like, oh, let's make it so that you don't have individual exposures for different elements. But it's like it actually changes the gameplay so significantly, because the moment that there's something that's going to add like 30% more damage in the case that it was before,
It's more
that you
busted.
don't have access to if you're going to use cross element. It's like
Yeah.
you're never going to use cross element, right? Like you're never going to do it. So it's like really, really important to just remove every single barrier that's getting there, because
We merged we merged cast on shock, ignite, and freeze into single.
we did. So
single
yeah, there's
gem.
no more cast on shock anymore. It's cast on ailment
Oh,
for that
wow.
reason
Oh.
as well, right? Exactly, right? So literally,
That's
we're like,
good.
let's find every
Holy.
single reason that's going to stop you from wanting to be able to use multi-element builds and actually try to improve that, right?
Yeah.
And
So-
guess what? You can still just play one element if you want.
Yeah, you can, of course, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
But now they're
if you're
incentivizing
doing
multi-element.
There's just no reason anymore not to.
I was so stoked looking at what you were doing with the elementals, because for the first time it actually is like an elementalist. Like there is.
Right.
Yeah,
mixing
like
of the
now
elements.
sorceress
Because
actually will
that's the
feel like a
fundamental
real
game
sorceress.
design thing with action RPGs, is
Like
that always
elementalists will
makes
actually
sense to
feel
focus
really good
on
now.
one very specific thing,
Right.
Because now you can
scaling is-
multi
but
build
it
your
seems
elements
like-
and get value.
gone a long way towards solving that issue.
Well, I hope so, because we really tried to fix every single case we could see. Now, there might be still some more, like you'll find there's some random mechanic that only works on one thing, and then people pick that, and they're like, okay, we have to find and make sure that there's something that's going to attract you to every element and play it. Yeah, I mean, look, part of the upgrades to the individual ailments also really helps, because it's giving you another.
I'm
reason,
I'm most likely going to run freeze as usual. Like I'm all about freeze.
Like,
I
you
love
want to both have
I love cold builds.
I'm not specializing.
Yo, Carl, what's up, homie?
Elements, but also you want to have like this element has something.
All is good, all is good. How you doing?
Right?
Good to see you.
Buffing shock, for example, we're like, okay, like, is there enough of a reason to weave lightning into a fire build? Right? There wasn't enough of a reason. So by making shock better, it's like, well, then now there is a reason to use two things. But you also want the burn, and you also might want the chill, and like making sure that all that stuff is powerful enough to actually tempt you to actually do it. You need,
because like 8-second shock, and you even mentioned bigger magnitude shocks.
Yeah,
happening
a
on
number of
bosses
the
and things
skills
like
have
that.
a bunch of shock effect on
Yeah,
it.
so effectively, if a skill is supposed to be for shocking, then that skill will have magnitude on it, because the idea is that, like, we really want to make sure that it actually works. But
Yes.
True.
So that kind of stuff. It's the same with the fire skills that are intended for burning as well. Like if something's intended for burning, it's going to have some kind of duration or something like that. So it's like you want to use that one, then you want to switch to something else while that's burning away, and that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
like-
always want to do that sort of thing, but you feel a bit silly because like
It's just not enough. It just wasn't doing enough.
Yeah,
you
'cause you're
should
splitting your
use main
resources.
skill instead.
Yeah,
You're wasting
exactly.
time.
Right.
But like even like once again, you wrap back in the support changes where it's like, okay, like why would I want to use this other mechanic when I can't do this as fast, or I can't do it as powerful as I could have been doing on something else that I've all in on. Like
Yeah.
it's like that as well was contributing. It's like the whole lot was just all.
So they're essentially just saying play warrior and
Yeah,
play
you mentioned
sorceress
the
now.
thing I didn't clarify 'cause I saw some questions about
Yeah.
it in the chat. It builds up now. So like
Yes.
if you don't ignite, you get 50% of the ignite, and then the next failed ignite will.
It's
Yeah.
called
as well.
flammability, since we no longer have the curse.
Yes.
Right.
And as you build up more flammability on an enemy, the probability of an ignite occurring goes higher and higher and higher. And once the flammability is full, the ignite is deterministic.
Sorry if I didn't see your message earlier, though,
if you miss
Carl.
an ignite,
If you said something earlier.
you at least contribute towards the next ignite being more likely, and eventually it is inevitable.
But one of the other amazing things we got, which was huge from our perspective, is that the way that ground effects work now for
Yes.
the fire is that it has to build to 100% flammability, and then it sets them on fire, which
So just
means
instant.
that if you use a level 1 flame wall, it doesn't ignite shit anymore really, really easily. So that means we can actually add mechanics that trigger off ignites and do all that sort of stuff without it being a disaster.
You
so
don't have to worry
yeah.
about people being full
Yeah.
degenerates. With
Thankful as
So if you're
always.
using a high level flame wall, it like
How it be,
set on
brothers,
fire
how
real
it be.
quick,
I'm
but
happy
if
to hear
you,
that. Happy to hear
real
that.
quick. But if you're using a low level one, then
Always happy to see you
it takes
doing well.
forever, so you
What's
wouldn't
up,
do it.
Moyes? How you doing, homie?
So,
it's finally a good
Good to
solve
see you.
for that, 'cause that'd be
yeah,
a
I
bit
know
of
it's been a bit of a
thorn
disaster
in
for a
your
long
side.
time, but so now we can have ignite triggers and more supports around that and that kind of thing, and
Yeah,
that's
let's
good.
be more liberal with the power you can give out to that sort of thing. And just the consistency has been a pain for any Ignite builds. For
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
consistency of Ignite was so bad. That's why Fire felt so doo-doo in like previous patch.
Getting a lot better too. The same idea of like any freeze skill.
Oh yeah, give me freeze.
So the freeze skill for that one, we didn't. I believe we didn't change the sort of base freeze.
Give me
balance
more
exactly.
freeze.
It
That's
was freezing skills. Just have more freeze going on.
Hmm.
And then there was also the other change, which I guess we didn't even cover really, which is that anything that consumes. Well, we'd use the word poise, but basically what that means is that anything that's like harder to apply to.
Yeah,
a boss,
there's a
if
lot of
mechanic's harder
amazing
to
stuff
apply to a
coming this
boss,
next
then we
patch.
wanna increase
It's
the reward for
huge.
doing it on bosses. So then we've got like an extra damage versus unique monsters, like kind of in quite a lot of places and different skills now.
I'm very
because,
stoked for these
when you
changes.
Freeze a boss, it's way harder to freeze than it would be a regular monster. We want to make sure that the payoff for that, for utilizing it, is now much more chunky.
And this was substantial enough that you could actually see it in the footage. Like
True.
you saw the boss
Yeah.
in chunks
Right.
from those shots in the footage compared to like the
Yeah,
regular-
that
Anyway,
boss
other
was
ones as
getting
well, right? Like so with the armor break, for example, it's
destroyed
like
by
you
the
weren't
freeze.
really incentivized to consume armor break on bosses. So the way we solved that particular one was like, okay, if you're an
Dude,
armor
I
break
cannot wait to
consumer,
run freeze
rather
again.
than consuming the armor break,
Freeze
you're
rich
gonna
lists, I'm
upgrade
just-
the
I can't
armor
wait.
break
I'm so
to a new
excited.
state, like a new higher, like a
Yes.
level buff that's gonna do something different. So yeah, like in the case you're like in the case of Sunday, you're like upgrading from plus 20% to plus 40%, but then it also refreshes the duration, and then so effectively you're more incentivized to do this, and then because it actually extends it now. So that's like another thing where you're like, let's actually make this combo work.
The high velocity rounds one is
very good, yes.
pretty crazy.
It's
So that's
Yeah, that mercenary
it takes your armor
is crazy.
break into, I don't remember the name. Let's say T2
I think
armor
it's
break.
shattered armor.
But
I
it's
think
then for the next however long the duration is, 5% of the. Think of it like a kind of infinite impale.
Jeez.
5% of the damage dealt by the high velocity rounds is dealt on every single hit for the rest of the duration.
And
That's
every single pellet of a
nutty.
shotgun is doing a percentage
And
of
every
the
the
high velocity
fragmentation
damage.
rounds is 10 hits.
Yeah.
And
Holy.
then consume days
juicy.
on Monk is the exact same thing. So if you do the days vaulting impact, and then you have, if you have staggering palm up and a temper spell, and you do whirling assault, you're doing all the whirling assault hits, all the projectile hits from staggering palm, all the temper spell hits.
Holy,
Each of
that
which are
stacking
doing
is
a
crazy.
percentage of the vaulting impacts thing on hit, and you just melt things.
Yeah, that
That's what
stacking
Days is
that
like,
stacking
instant
sounds crazy.
application too, no
Yes,
build up
yes.
for
Well, that
sort
one
of
was
stuff.
kind of worthless before, so we're like, let's just,
Yeah,
let's
days
just
days
make
was
it
was
actually
was
good.
ass.
This
I'm so
idea of,
glad they
like, buffs that
they made
get
changes to
escalated
days.
into tier 2 buffs is like a
Yeah.
kind of cool concept.
I like that one.
Have there
And
been
the other
any
funny thing about it that's,
optimization
like, less
updates
obvious,
since?
but really good from our perspective, is
Not
that it
too
means you
sure
can't
actually.
repeat
That's a
the
good
combo
question.
piece immediately either, because once you've upgraded the armor break, it's
I don't think they mentioned
extended
anything
the armor break,
optimization-wise.
which means
They've
that
been
you can't
talking
just
mostly
reapply
about
the
like the
armor break
axe
immediately
and
either. You
the
have to
skill
do
gems
something
being
else.
upgraded, more
So it
support
actually kind
gem
of generates that
additions.
rotation kind of naturally, which is kind of a nice one.
It's chunkier and it feels like you're not an idiot for doing it.
Right,
which is
Yeah,
exactly.
optimization definitely was
Yeah,
an issue
remove
for a
the
lot of
broken
players.
armor and
Exactly.
Make them tankier
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
Like it,
so-
it never really made
I'm actually kind of
sense,
surprised they didn't mention
but
it.
also, like,
But we'll see.
prevents,
They might mention it in the patch
Yeah, yeah.
notes.
Is a pain for you guys. So, huge.
Attempted
huge
to
improvements
reinstall it in a hope
there.
the FPS is more tolerable. Yeah, I would imagine they have some optimization issues, but they haven't mentioned them. They're just talking about the more relevant. I mean, not relevant, but the more impactful points pertaining to the patch.
So I've got something.
discover 'em.
There's some stuff around this that I would like to improve, which is that okay. So well, first of all, we did a full pass on recommendeds to like because there was a lot of terrible recommendeds right now, and so we did like a full pass on that. So basically, what I'm hoping is that now, at least all the recommendeds are not bad. Like I was kind of trying to really answer the question of like, are these three supports the truly best supports that this skill could have, right? And previously we had this extra constraint that kind of screwed this over, which was that because you could only have limit 1, there was always this thing of like, oh, but would you use it on the skill or would you use it on a different skill that we were always kind of working around?
see.
Now we can just be like, what are the 3 best options, right? With no other constraints, right? And so that means that like that immediately makes it easier for us. But I think the other issue is that what it was, the whole like, there's too many supports thing, part of it was because since the recommendeds were bad, you kind of had to go to that other screen where you've got all this other stuff. It's like, if you can actually rely on the recommendeds to be good, it's like, it doesn't, the fact there's a bunch of supports doesn't kind of matter as much.
I remember having. We had
Hey,
a
hey,
ranger
Gramps.
with, the 10,
You're heading
10
out.
skills,
No
50
worries, no
supports.
worries, brother. You
And
take
it was
you take
2
care of
out
yourself.
50 were recommended, I think.
You have a wonderful rest of your
exactly what
evening,
skills they're on. I'm like,
and I'll most likely
Yeah, it's a
catch
bad
you
sign,
again
right?
on
So
the
if
next
it's a
stream,
bad
which will
sign,
be on
like,
Saturday when I'll play more Elden Ring again.
The player who's following the guide that we have given them is not only not being rewarded, they're being punished because we're making them make wrong decisions.
Yeah, so
And,
I'm sure there'll still be a few that are incorrect on there, but like hopefully it should be way better. And the other thing as well as I'd really like to do is I think that we might want to get into starting to recommend more stuff, or maybe even like recommending stuff based on the previous stuff that you've already
That's
done.
crazy.
Which
Yeah,
might just
that
get a
would
bit
be
complicated,
nice.
but I'm kind of, I feel like we
But,
maybe should
yeah,
start
that
thinking
sounds a
about
bit
that,
complex.
It's like a nightmare to code.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe,
that's
you know, kind of
crazy.
Like, or maybe like if you've got this other skill on your build, then this becomes an option, or there's something like that we might have to do because I think there's.
That
more
sounds
to
like
do,
a
but
Facebook
whatever,
ad.
for now, it's just at least we're like, here's the 3 best shit.
There's so much complexity to that.
Yes, I know.
Keeping track of all the
Yes,
all
right, so we did a
the
pass of like
the
making
data
the
of your
names more
build.
obvious.
That's crazy.
Like because there was a lot of supports that just kind of weren't.
Like search for there's this thing that does a thing. I don't.
Yeah,
what is it
Oh,
called?
God,
I don't know.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know.
Impossible.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah.
Like, there's something that does an explosion with armor, but
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
it called?
Well, that one should be obvious, I think. But
Armor explosion?
Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah.
That's what it needs to be like.
No, but I'm pretty sure it is called that now.
Yeah, good.
But yeah.
I
Excellent.
remember just being like, if I'm struggling with this,
Yeah.
so many people must be struggling with
Right,
this. Like,
exactly.
I remember we had to build.
Execrate or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it was not the most intuitive of systems for sure. So massive step forward in the UX, the understandability, all of that stuff for sure. I'd say as you play it and as you take it as it comes, it's not overwhelming. it's easy to look at it in this context and go, oh my god, 100 in support and whatever the numbers are, linear supports, and oh my god, there's
but
so much
also,
going on.
the linear
but-
supports really should be treated more like uniques, so they
Yeah.
kind of just go into
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
pool of like, you know, stuff that at in game you're kind of like, you know, potentially working on. But I mean, a lot of the linear support things will end up probably being like, oh, you know, this build guide says, you know, this is the thing to use here, so and you know, and here's the boss you need to farm to get it. So I suspect that, you know, it obviously ends up a lot of that way with uniques a lot of the time, but
There being so many options for this stuff, actually, kind of like, so there's this thing that ever since kind of the internet, you know, we get, we're spoiled, right? We're inherently spoiled for everything. We have the build guides and all that. but
Are we really
there's
spoiled?
a lot of fun to that as well, but we obviously lost some of that.
Or are we spoiled
mystery,
rotten?
yes.
Your own self-discovery, but
Because the
I feel like
internet
you're almost
nowadays is
forcing
something
us
else
back to
too.
that age a bit because there's just too much for guide creators to really cover.
I don't know
and-
about that. Like, people will still converge on things.
But even if a guide creator like creates a build, even if it's like quite well optimized, there's usually like a few other options
well,
that are
ideally,
almost
yeah.
as
I mean,
optimized.
that's part of the fun, right? Like, you know, over time,
Yeah.
come more stuff. And ideally, since we're shaking the meta up each league as well, like, you know,
Yeah.
there's still new stuff to find. I mean, that's, you know, like, I think that Path of Exile is actually a game that still has that because of the fact that there's enough stuff and there's enough meta changes to actually cause it to be that there's still cool stuff to find. That
This
one's
game is still
discovered
out.
yet,
Not
which is- there's
well.
many
This
games
game
like
is
that,
still
really,
not
that,
out yet
yeah,
for
I
free.
really think
It will be free for the
but-
weekend
Well,
once this
yeah,
new
yeah,
patch
yeah,
drops.
I
So
guess
if you
so.
wanted to try it out,
that
you can
really
try it
just
out
comes
for
down to
free
the
on the
meta shaking
weekend,
that happens, you know?
starting August 29th.
Yeah.
But after that weekend's done, then yeah, you pretty much have to buy because the game is still in early access. There's a lot of changes to be made. There's a lot more that needs to be implemented, but it'll still be free for
So there have been some
the weekend of
adjustments.
August
Actually, this is
29th.
probably a good time to cover a
So it's a
topic
good
that,
time to jump in and try it at least to
was
see if you
probably
like
not
it.
obvious in the live stream, which is that we now have a
Because it is
system
worth
that's
it is
allowed-
worth
that
the
allows us
purchase.
to
There's a
effectively,
lot in
I
this game,
don't
and
know
it's
a good,
really
way
worth
to
buying.
phrase this really, but it's like
Like,
so
I
I'll take
can't
the
stress that
transmutes
enough.
as
It
an
is
example,
very,
right?
very worth
So
buying.
in the live stream, we're like, it's dropping too many transmutes. We want to instead drop these more powerful ones. The way that actually works is that as you
Because
get
you're only
higher
paying
level,
like what, like 30 or
it
40 bucks,
specifically takes,
but you're
like,
getting
some
a
of the juice,
ton of
if you will, of
content.
the transmutes that
So
would've
much
dropped.
content in this game.
And
It's
then,
remarkable how
and
much
then
there is.
instead drops higher level ones, but less often. So the kind of the idea is that it's like, you know, we're getting rid of the crap you don't want and the kind of like making higher.
But I
like,
would say,
better stuff that you
I
just
would
get
say
less.
take full advantage
And
of
we're actually
the
doing-
upcoming
we've
free
actually
weekend.
changed over some of the ways that, for example, the way that uncuts now drop as you get into the end game as well works that way. So it's like you like it kind of it effectively turns. You're getting less uncuts, but you're getting more of the high, but they're turning instead into higher level ones, and like that kind of stuff. So like that'll change the game a little bit. Now I don't know if we're going to have that exactly perfectly right in the very first version, but effectively that should mean that you the way it makes that feel is kind of better in terms of getting those upgrades. So I'm pretty sure that I'm not 100% sure of this, but I'm pretty sure that the jewelers have also been changed to use that system instead. For the very top one, I think.
If you did the change,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't know.
I think that one's been changed, but there's effectively like so what you get there is like
And the reason why the
we're still
game
trying to
isn't
make it so you get enough of the low level currency that you can still do
isn't
map
free
crafting.
yet
Obviously, you don't
is just
wanna burn
because
the
they
higher
still
level
have
ones
so
on
much to
map.
add in terms of
What
like
it
different
does mean
classes.
is that,
Like there aren't
you
any
won't do as
new
many
class.
crafts,
Well, there
like,
are
just the
new
bulk of the
classes
number of crafts you have to
such
do
as
to
the
get
Huntress,
stuff,
but there's still a lot
will be
more.
better, and you won't just get as
And they
much
want to
just
make sure they have
the crap that you
the
don't
full
need.
list of classes
Now, I will
available
say
for
that
full
the,
release.
perfect results are not common. They are quite rare, and there's also the drop rates are to an extent that's much larger than previous stuff because of the way that works are much more controlled by the level. So at the difference between the eye level 78, 79, 80 is quite large in terms of the percentage that gets converted. So there's a little bit more going on there, and then eye level 81 and 82, you know, like from rares and uniques.
Yeah.
That is even more. So like you kind of there's a little bit more of that going on with that to make it you know
You can cube them down, right? As well.
you can
So if
down
you're like,
you can't up cube, you can
if
down
you're like
cube.
SS, if you're SS,
Yeah, so that's probably
Yeah.
not a word we should be using. But you can split them apart.
Like if
into-
you're an SSF and you're not
Yeah.
getting enough of the basic stuff to roll waystones, and you happen to be getting some of the higher tier
then you
ones,
can
and you
put
don't
them
need
down.
them for your gear, downgrade them so that you can and split them into 3 so that you can apply them to your maps. You know, like that's the.
That makes sense.
Interesting. Criminal to split a perfect exalting.
Well, no, you wouldn't do that, obviously.
It's
but-
more about the
It's more
greater
the-
one going
yeah,
into the
yeah,
other
yeah,
ones.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nice.
yeah.
So kind of on the topic of like the sockets and the gems and things like that, what's your kind of like expectation for like when a player would have like one 6 link or even multiple or all 6 links? Is that a thing that you think players have now, especially with the sport gem change?
I don't know that we've necessarily changed that for 6 links too much. For the For the lower ones, like for the 5,
Yeah, you
we did add a few more like specific drops around during the campaign and like a few more things like that to kind of just make sure we really wanted to make sure that the there's a bit less randomness for that part. For the 6 though, it's still kind of like supposed to be the peak, you know, like top end stuff. So it's really the 5 that we want to kind of make a little bit better as far as like
we
guaranteeing that.
significantly changed the drop rates of these as well in 021.
That is a good point, actually. Yes. Like,
yeah,
if you
they did
haven't
make
played
those
Xena,
changes.
you know, it's a bit
which
of a different
was a
experience.
decent
There were
time
changes in
into
Dawn of the Hunt.
The O2X, you know, series, and the drop rates of these did significantly go up.
Yeah.
Because it is worth mentioning, of course, if you didn't play post 021, then you've probably got a very different experience from what the drops are now compared to what they were before then. Like,
Drops were worse.
Pretty big difference there.
Yeah, drops have improved a lot.
The first few weeks and stuff.
Yeah. So just worth
major.
mentioning that's still a thing, right? Like we still have
Like when Dawn of the
those
Hunt
changes
like
too. So
officially
if
dropped,
you-
that thing was
if you,
terrible.
stop playing after like a week or something in a 020,
But-
like, you know, the item drops.
Yeah,
stuff changed
the
quite a
item drops definitely were enhanced significantly.
Is it kind of the same thing for like level 20 gems and stuff like that? That's something that's
I'm not
meant to
exactly
be kind of like a chase long term.
Yeah, it is supposed to be chase, right? Like getting those higher stuff. But one thing that you shouldn't get anymore is the just like spam of crap you don't need as far as the uncuts are concerned.
Well, during that O2X when we were looking at item drops and everything, I looked into the gems, and yeah, it was okay. So obviously we added that Venter's gamble box, and that was dropping them. And I was like, why does it feel like 90% are coming from that? And we looked into it, and then it was like, oh, these are like only dropping from the way the levels had been set up. It was assuming that the tier 16 maps were 83. Like in POE1, the highest tier of maps.
That's why they weren't dropping level 20
and
gems.
so the drop levels of drop levels of level 20 gems were like dropping from only, you know, the
That sounds terrible.
+1 level areas. And
That
all of
sounds horrible.
And only from
super restricted.
yeah. And so I was like, oh my god, this was just a straight up error.
Early
so
access, okay, it's
we went back and we were like, I'm just in a -3 levels from everything there.
But that was a 0-2x change, to be clear. So that was already fixed.
Yeah, they made that change already, so that's
It was a
good.
bit of a disaster.
Yeah, that
But
already
also,
sounds horrible.
inherent items. There's another change. Just speaking of gem levels, it just like clicked to my mind. We've actually what we've done is taken all the wand staff skills and whatnot, and we've effectively balanced them. Because the idea is you find your, like, let's say your volatile dead wand. You're going to use that for a while, like if you have good affixes, especially in the campaign. So what we've done is effectively balance them as if they were like 3 levels higher implicitly. And you can now get up to level 20 gems dropping 20 inherent skills, even on unique items, for the ones that did level up from the ground as well. So like those are playing a, you know, to add to the sorceress and other classes' arsenals. Those are playing more of a role as well. And then
Dude, I definitely think that
with the uniques,
sorceress,
it's not
merc,
you don't get to a point where they all
warrior,
drop level 20.
those
You get
3
to a point where
classes
some
are getting
18,
buffed
some
like
19,
crazy.
some
I
are
think Ranger
22,
too. Rangers are getting
kind
buffed.
of, you want the perfect unique.
Like they're getting like the greatest buffs. I think every class is getting buffs, but those classes for sure are eating.
And so yeah, but they the inherent skills should be a lot.
Warrior
more
for
impactful
sure,
than
I
what
think,
we
is
need
probably
from
getting
now
the
as well on
most.
wand. And we've added a whole bunch more. I think we ended up adding like 10 or so. New
Warrior's going to be a
wands,
monster now.
Something
I think
like
there's
that.
8 new inherent skills, I think was the number.
Quite cool.
Scythe one's pretty
There's
cool.
some quite cool stuff in there as well.
These
Right,
have been
immediately
reasonably
got the
effective. Like, people have
unleash,
actually
got the
used them.
unleash staff finally back in.
Oh,
It was
cool,
for
yeah.
those who were at the OG or the
Yeah, from back in
second
the day.
Exile con.
Yeah, from way back in the day.
So that's been removed off Chronomancer, and a new passive's been added there, and you know, so since you
There are a bunch of other Ascendancy class changes, by the way, that we didn't cover.
Oh,
in there,
yeah.
like just balance things and stuff.
All the existing stuff seems to have gotten touched quite a bit.
Yeah.
But especially in like Ranger, Warrior, and Elementalist.
Yep, those are the 3.
class got changes.
Yeah.
I think
Every class got changed, but those 3,
one that we
patch
were
notes
like
coming
some
later
less,
today.
sure, some less than others, but I'm pretty sure
those
every single
3
class got
were
a change.
most notable. Like you showed off those 3 classes so heavily in the.
You get the access to the
in the live
level 3
stream.
uncut supports pretty quickly. Like it was like Act 3 I found one.
Yeah. So effectively, you get
So
now
those
there's
aren't
effectively a tier per act.
Those are rare. Like
No.
yeah, like so because that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, these tier 3 ones.
Yeah, but bear in
have,
mind
like,
we've sort of
different
rearranged
effects
everything, right? Because we've got things that level up. So effectively, in tier 2, you're often getting things that are level ups from tier 1, and so then we can push a couple of those up to tier 3. But then in tier 3, there's some of them as well. So you kind of it's sort of spread out a little bit more evenly, and the extra levels kind of mean there's more interesting upgrades. And one of the other things I just wanted to mention is there was this and part of the issue with the supports before is that there was kind of this decision fatigue you had a little bit with them as well, where it's like you didn't want to remove something to add a new thing. Like you'd more likely wanted to just all in on the thing you already picked. So having some level ups like that kind of actually just eases that a little bit, where it's like there's a really obvious upgrade sometimes if I just pick this, and sometimes it's just nice to have that.
Gives you a little break.
I really like the new tier per act. I actually really value the fact that no matter what, when you get to that new act, obviously the interlude is kind of considered one and a bit act, so it's not you're not getting 3 tiers of supports there. But I really like that no matter what, obviously you get to the new act, you start seeing all the new base types, and now you have this new tier of supports, and so every time you get to an act, you're getting just like straight up like, all right, let me just get a bunch of power upgrades straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like there's a much better breakdown in the progression now. In terms of
makes progression feel a lot smoother.
Well, like every second act you get new rune tiers. Every second act you'll get new every
as well,
can't remember how that's split. I feel like that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and interlude, and then end game for essences. So like there's a lot of like you get to act 4 and you get a new tier, you get a whole bunch of new base types, you get a new tier of essences appearing, and so on and so forth. It's like just feels really good getting to a new act and getting all the power from it.
We'll talk more on specific archetypes then, but first, so like on the skill topic, thing that comes up often from Chad and earlier questions I've gotten is like about the overimportance of plus levels across the board for a lot of things, and also the impacts of mana costs on that. Like you guys did a pretty big adjustment on that recently, but how do you feel about where mana costs are at and plus levels in general?
We have lowered the exponentiality of mana costs like pretty drastically. Especially level 20 plus is going down a lot, like an absolute huge amount reduction. We're trying to keep the campaign relatively intact. There's another, you were talking about the importance of plus levels. Like one of the reasons for this is that a lot of in-game builds especially ended up using something that was using flat damage and thus scaled strictly from gem levels and not from your weapon's damage itself. And as a result, what a lot of people were using was, what's this magic weapon with just plus whatever the number is, 7 or something.
We've actually changed quite a lot more things to be weapon-based scaling around the place. Obviously not on the sword.
What's kind of like an example about that? Like,
everything that was flat damage, all those unarmed skills, all the obviously different. With Hollow Palm gives you damage a different way. But with Shockwave Totem, all of the stuff, we're just generally going like, we just want weapons to matter, and this whole just using a single affixed weapon at the end is. It's not going to fly. Now, that being said, plus gem level, still pretty important, and especially in the case of casters. But yeah, the mana costs just got kind of out of control. Manageable in some cases with some builds, with others, not at all. So yeah, that's come down like a lot. I don't have the exact numbers. We were looking at a lot of the models yesterday.
I'm sure players will find that. Like they'll figure it out.
Too, and I was like, look, I'm happy with.
You've got those math nerds out there.
But there were some changes towards the later campaign that I was like, no, I don't do those. Undo that change. So we're fiddling with the numbers a little bit so that the intent was to obviously have it so that when we post the patch notes, we have something that's relatively correct. But of course, we like to tweak these things all the way through to the end based on testing. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, 20 plus in particular, way down.
Cool.
It got out of control, like actually out of control.
But I know that conversely, you do want mana to be a thing that you actually interact with. So where do you kind of want mana to be on a build by build basis? Like, what's the expected kind of like player solve?
Well, and as you can see from something like the new keystone we added for leech applying to elemental, like ideally, especially right side of tree, you can spec into some leech. You got your monk, you got your ranger kind of thing.
It's good that leech is getting buffed too, because leech was something I enjoyed, but it wasn't.
Nice.
It wasn't something that you could really truly invest in, but now you can.
Are meant to have cheaper costs and do have cheaper costs. It is something an int character is supposed to have to deal with. To at least some degree, and I'd say that is relatively the case most of the time, especially when you start to get gem levels. it's just part of that puzzle for those characters, and that is intended. Now, it was to extreme, obviously. So that's come down, but it is still, you can't just get away with not investing into it at all. I generally, when I try and play on live, try and play the thing people are playing the least. So that I'm most equipped to be able to deal with the rebalance of it. So I just played a sorceress for the last league.
Yeah, sorceress is kind of
I
lacking.
actually enjoyed the solving the mana thing, but yes, then once you have your plus, I can't remember all the values, 6 on your wand and 3 on your amulet and all of that stuff, you're just like, oh my, this is insane. And then certain skills just become completely non-viable. And, all of a sudden the triggers are just like, goodbye all your mana. And then you have, all that. And I was like, I had mana on every single slot, mana regen on every single slot. I had probably a third of my tree in mana. And, like, my damage wasn't a problem. But I was like, okay, this is just going too far.
Yeah, it's
and,
just
like,
over-investment in
I'm
mana.
still doing far less damage than, whatever, some other build that's had to not care about it in the slightest. So, missed the mark for sure on that one. But
Yeah, that's why sorceress felt
it should
lacking,
be a
because
pretty
you
drastic
over-invested in your
course correction on
mana,
that front now.
which meant that some of your damage was lacking.
First mark,
Even though you can still
Well,
Well, the
get some
trade
relatively
suffering
good
got to a
damage,
point
but
where it's like,
your
nah, this needs
mana
to
stacking
stop.
was just crazy.
It got so much worse last league for me. I was like, seriously, just like, I'm so done with the AFK. Just please, can more of you be at your computer? And then it's like, well, we have this plan, we have this system. Let's just bloody get it done, so that we don't have to deal with this ever again. But
let's talk about trade then. It's been a long time coming, much asked for.
Oh yeah, trade is crazy now for those who love trading.
Have a thing to ask for now. Like, I don't know. I feel a sense of loss almost.
for now,
We'll find out.
But
Every trade system eventually becomes a problem somehow.
Yeah, eventually there will be a crack in there.
Yeah, obviously, the
Someone's gonna
intention was to
figure
try
it
and
out.
Fix all the problems that people currently have.
But the trading system enhancements are great.
It's been a big thorn in our side for a long time. as
Yeah,
far as,
people have
like,
been complaining for a
issues
trade
are
for
concerned, so I'm glad
eons
we
now.
Finally got something that we're kind of happy with. I'm really hoping it's going to turn out well. Obviously, one of the things you just can't really test.
Yeah.
Because you can do every theory that you want, but
Yeah, until it goes live.
the economy needs to be real for
Yeah,
it to actually
exactly.
make sense. So
Right.
Yeah,
You have to wait until it goes live to see how well it does.
About it non-stop since you've told me that the trade was happening, because it seems like it can have so many follow-on effects. Like, for one, all of a sudden the amount of available items to purchase is multiplied by a huge amount, like ×4 for the amount of offline players that are now available at least. And then, like, I'm going to list items that I wouldn't have listed before because I couldn't be bothered leaving the map. So that's doubles it again. Like, what's 10, 20 times more items available to players? Like, that's a big thing.
it is, and that's part of the reason why we need the gold costs to kind of offset that, because that will potentially drive down prices in some cases. So
Yeah.
you need something that's kind of a barrier so that people aren't like buying things too easily. But at the same time, well, sorry, guys, what I'll say about this is that, so the gold costs are there for that. One of the other big, really important things with the gold costs is it means that it doesn't screw your progression up too much as you're going through the game.
All right, I had to test my vacuum out.
Effectively, you've still, as your first, going through your first experience, the price.
Last time I tried my vacuum cleaner and I took it off the charge and it didn't charge.
Like, yeah, you can afford stuff, but you
What the
can't
heck?
necessarily just buy a whole set
now
of
we're
gear,
good.
like out of nowhere, that kind of thing. So that's kind of important. And then the other thing as well is it stops any kind of well, maybe not completely stops, but the hope is that it'll stop botting of like high frequency trading, that kind of thing, because that in order to be able to flip items you would need to run maps to actually get gold, right? Because you can't get any other way. So effectively what that means is that you can it's going to prevent that kind of thing from being an issue too. So the hope is that this should be a situation where we don't get like catastrophic hyperinflation or something annoying like that. And if we can achieve that, that'll be really good. We did pitch the gold prices on the high end to start with, because we're a bit afraid. If it turns out everything's fine, we can lower them down a little bit, but they'll be a little bit high to start, just because we're a bit afraid.
Yeah, you
We
got to
don't
be
really
careful.
wanna have to jack them up after they when they were low. So
you said
yeah.
this that they were pitched on the high end, but then when I asked you about how much gold it actually costs to buy something, like what amount of gold does it cost in terms of time or maps?
The discussion was
something?
that buying a rare should cost you about 1 map worth of gold.
That's like seems like nothing to me. That doesn't seem that high. Like,
I mean, like it's
you
enough
end up with a lot of gold.
it's a lot for a botter, but it's
yeah, well,
not
exactly,
much for
right? It's a
player,
lot for a
right?
botter. That's the thing, yeah.
Sounds perfect.
A little bit
like-
earlier in the game, this a little bit different because you want to make
Yeah.
sure that you know, you're not screwing with the progression too much. So you know, it has to be a little bit adjusted. But effectively, yeah, that's kind of the goal. It's enough of a barrier to stop the flips, basically, because you know you still actually.
That sounds low enough that the currency cost of the items is more likely to be a.
Well, I mean, that is the part that the players receive, so you'd want that to be something that matters. But yeah, like as I said, the floor shouldn't be too bad. But it's gonna be very interesting to see how it develops. Like, I honestly have no idea really. Like, I don't know whether the prices will be lower or higher on this system versus the old one. Like, I actually don't know whether that's what's going to end up happening there. Like, I've got theories, but it's like there's counterexamples too. Like, it's very interesting to sort of.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you're gonna find out if something's really, really bad in trade is you have to just wait.
Like usable.
Right, everything right now is kind of speculative, but you have to be patient and just wait till trade goes live and see how.
At the same time, people don't want to make those trades, so
you have to see how a trade's going to work in real time.
It goes to like 5x or 5c or whatever. It's like the minimum that they would even leave.
Then they just make adjustments on the way.
So that created a floor before.
Yeah. But then on the other hand,
kind of gone now.
On the other hand, if you're just filling up all your stash with a bunch of crap, like, you know, that's like, as a seller, you don't necessarily want to do that either. So, you know, like, you've got that element going on.
And this is something I love about this system, is that it's going to give you a very real feedback of how things are selling, because you're going to get in real time those.
Yep, a bunch of people are going to turn up in your hideout. If you underprice something, a bunch of people are going to turn up instantly. They're going to be there.
So this is my favorite when we talk. You told me how this works. So people click it, they get transported to your hideout
at the location of the NPC with the box open with the item highlighted.
Yep.
So you can't like troll people by like putting the NPC somewhere far away from the entrance or something like that, which should be otherwise an issue.
But like, you get like really popular items, and you got an active shop. You can have like 20 people in your hideout.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So we actually
so popular.
So we actually had to do a thing where effectively there's only 24 slots for people who aren't your friends or party members.
Yeah, I was going to say there has to be a limitation.
That means that there are some extra slots that are dedicated so that you can't someone can't stop you from being able to map or something just because you had a popular item that people are looking at. So yeah, we pre-thought of that one at least. Like, I am sure that there will be other random trolls that people will discover.
Of course,
that's a way to do
of
this.
Course.
But okay, but one we did think of immediately, of course, because it was really obvious, is like, once you've set a price on an item, put it in your stash, there is a cooldown on being able to take it out again.
Yeah.
Just to give people a chance
you can't be sitting there going, oh my god, too many people are joining.
Remove
the
remove
item.
it again, right?
Yeah.
It's even got a thing where it refreshes the cooldown when someone joins. So
that'd be kind of cheesy.
So, once again, I'm sure there'll be exploits or like stupid shit around this that people work out. Like, but you know, we at least thought of the really obvious ones.
It's going to be a really like physical, tangible way to like learn the price of things. Like, because you can put a bunch of stuff there, no one's coming to your hideout.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of people standing in your hideout, you know you're probably doing things right. Right. But yes, no change of none of that repricing.
The bait and switch
repricing
is gone, right? Because like, when you put the item in and you price it, you are committing to that price.
Exactly.
You must sell. You must sell for that. Someone's going to buy that thing, right?
Never again am I going to message someone and be like, I want to buy it, and then they raise it by 5c. And I still want to buy it.
But yes,
5c again.
On the other hand,
still want to buy it.
On the other hand, you have to actually be careful, right? Like, you could accidentally sell something for real cheap, and nothing's. There's no.
It's a great way to
I know it is, right? It is.
Yeah, I mean, you are the seller and the buyer, right? You have to be very, very strategic in how you sell.
A big fear for doing this, apart from the item acquisition part, which is like the economic side of things, was the losing the player interaction side of things. That was often mentioned, memed about a little bit. But funnily enough, this is actually increasing it more than messaging people.
Yes.
Because they're coming to your hideout. Like, there's going to be that kind of like presence of
they get to check out your kind of like garage sale that you're going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like a flea market, you know,
like your display
like a bazaar.
There,
yeah, exactly.
Right? Cool hideout decors and
literally like a bazaar, dude.
So
we're going to be adding a new hideout decoration that's effectively a set of security guards. And so people in your party, they'll let you through. And people not in your party, they won't. So you can have a little,
bouncers.
VIP area of a hideout, the VIP area where you know, only the people, you know, with some class.
It's gonna be funny.
Only people with class are allowed in there.
Oh my god!
So you can sit behind your security, just watching all of them.
So much fun stuff you can do with this. I love it. But never before would I have like looked through a seller's like other listings. But now, like, a lot of time I'm just going to go there and buy the highlighted item. But
if they were silly enough to sell it for that cheap, what about their other items?
What are their other items?
Yeah, exactly.
Like 5 things.
Even stuff like you can see the tab names on the other people, right? I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah,
so you're like getting the nice organization and like colors scheming and everything, right? So that people can, you know,
people's ASCII art.
Yeah. So that'll be a nice one too.
No, I can't wait to look at all the phallus tabs and
Oh,
find out.
jeez. Okay,
what
no,
I'm thinking.
I think we have to add a reporting system for it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, there has to be.
Yeah.
What's up, Cake? How you doing, brother?
I was just excited to log in, just to have that. You wake up in the morning, you're like,
What have I got? What do I get?
Before work, go run to your
Yeah,
computer,
what
and,
clothes did I get?
and then you get nothing, and you're like, oh.
The idea of even just like popping into your friends lists.
Yeah.
Like hideouts
Yeah.
are doing it too, like just browsing what cool items they got.
Browsing your wares.
Far more like.
What are you
physically
buying?
A thing that you can do.
What are
now.
you selling?
Oh, yeah, it's really exciting. But yeah, there's so much unknown variables there. Like, what is this going to do to the economy and the item acquisition process?
Well,
Like,
thankfully,
you can't
we're
go back
in-
now.
Yeah, I can't go back on that
thankfully,
now.
though, we are still in the early access economy, right? So even though all the stuff will be kept,
Yeah.
it will be separated from the eventual economy we get at full release.
Yeah.
And also, thankfully, we get to test it on POE2 before we look at putting it into POE1. So we get a
True.
chance to.
Yeah, it's trial and error.
calling me, that's not good. Before we get a chance to. Before we have to commit to that for POE1 and so we can get the balance right, we can get all the details right. But like, I am almost certain that it'll have to go into POE1. Like, there's no way people won't.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
it'll have to
exactly.
go,
I'm
but-
sure.
But at least,
if
we get a
things
chance to kind of
if things
assess
go
the,
well
like,
in POE2,
how
then they'll
the-
most
how the
likely
economy shakes
implement
out
it
and
into
kind of make some
POE1.
adjustments if we need
Yeah.
to, before we have to worry about that.
Looks like there's some extra chat questions about this. So one is a concern about bots sniping instantly with the system. I mean, that's the point, right? Is like,
I mean, ultimately that.
well-
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the point, but ultimately,
Yeah.
yes, it's a thing. But then it already is kind of a thing. Like, there's
Yeah.
already stuff that
I don't
honestly
know
goes on with there.
that
So
really changes too much,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah,
yeah.
because we were talking last night, I think, a fair bit about arbitrage and
Right.
how this kind of stuff plays out.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
gold is a bit of a deterrent.
The gold is the
yes.
deterrent,
It's-
right? It'll
yeah.
stop the bots.
Because you've got to go, you got to collect
to some
gold.
degree, for sure.
So that means you
Right,
have
can
to
only
grind
snipe so many
maps to
items.
actually acquire more gold, and that will
hours
definitely
into
stop the
it,
bots.
be able to do that. And
Yep.
often those sorts of bots kind of profit off low margin trades, and
Right.
low margin trades delete your gold. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
And
So yeah, there's less incentive to flip.
another interesting note that came up in our earlier discussions about this, it sounded like you didn't really need to make gold costs really high for rare items. 'Cause I was like, oh, well,
Excuse
tier
me.
looks like costs $1 billion.
Sorry.
It's like, apparently not.
No, not really, because by the time you get to the high, like the top end of things, then that stuff is already the most expensive stuff. You don't really need to have the inflation protect, like that kind of like the descent of prices that you get that'll happen up there. So you kind of in the end the prices for uniques, they don't have to be that extreme.
Yeah.
But what the thing to note though is that the prices are a multiplier per level of what the shop prices are. So we do actually have shop prices for all the uniques now. So if you sell uniques to the vendor, you'll actually get more gold now than you did before. Just as a side note.
There's gonna
Yeah.
be some. Kind
That's
going
gonna
to
be some- yeah.
Like not worth
There's going to be
trading, but
some
worth
people out there who are going to be
gold.
trying some real
Maybe.
tactical
Maybe.
It's also
tactical
worth noting
things
that
to.
this tab only
exploit
sells
the
stuff
system.
not in the currency exchange.
Yes.
Right. So
okay.
you can't sell a chaos orb in there.
Would just be
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah,
to do, I
yeah,
think,
exactly.
you know.
Well,
Currency exchange is for fungible, stackables, stuff that isn't modular, and then the rest goes in here. So
Yeah.
it should be that every single other tradable item is in here.
So we had the kind of discussion in the past about like whether maps would get somehow made to work with the previous system, but now obviously that can just be done through this, right? Like
Yep.
those sorts of items that are a little bit variable, but
Right.
might otherwise be considered a kind of currency can go there.
Yep.
So if this goes well, do you plan to remove like old systems of trade or anything like that?
I don't think we can because fundamentally,
Dude, I want those
we
posters in the
sold
back.
premium stash tabs.
Those posters
They
look
had
so
functions they
sick.
had, removing the old system,
That would be bad.
people bought stuff we can't
Give me a Huntress one.
paid for.
I want a
Did you
Huntress
mention
poster in the
reveal that
back.
You can convert them over? Or?
Yeah, we did. So you can
Okay.
convert your existing tabs if you bought them for the purposes of this. Then converting them over is obviously the right thing to do.
And I would love a Path of Exile hoodie.
Thing we wanted to make sure
A lot
was
of
available.
those long-term POE1 players have a seemingly infinite amount of premium tabs, largely for this reason, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it certainly wouldn't be right to all of a sudden be like, nah, you don't get to use any of that anymore. So yeah, you can fully just convert them, and that is why it's also just as important to work in POE1 because your micros are shared, right? You're not.
So there will be a little bit of a time there where if you convert them, of course, the POE1 doesn't have this tab type, so they won't show up, which is a bit annoying. But once it gets added to POE1, then they'll work.
Ah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll try to make sure that doesn't take too long.
Yeah.
There's the question of will functionality of the trade site be in-game in some capacity?
So that's something that we really want, and we even had a prototype of this.
I saw it.
Yeah. So it's a thing that we are working on, but unfortunately didn't quite make it for 030. There's some stuff we want to do. I am personally still a believer in that the website's going to be a better experience because, like, the typing, like.
So 0.4 is going to be really, really
and ultimately
insane because now we're most likely going to get Druid in 0.4.
On the other hand, for discoverability,
based on what they're saying, like we're going to see Druid, we're going to see new weapons in 0.4.
I reckon for console, it's still better to use.
But that won't happen until
I suspect a little bit.
September, October, November, December probably. We won't see it until like the end of the year.
Like typing with a phone is just easier.
Often you don't have to type anything in text in these.
It's true. But look, we are going to do it. It's just that like it isn't quite
done. There's a bit of each to their own as well.
Sure.
A lot of people are very excited about the idea of an in-game one, and
it is a feature that we will do.
It
is a feature we will do. We just haven't.
It's in progress and it's close.
Yeah.
It seems wild to me that I can like push a button on my phone and my character goes to someone else's hideout.
Yeah, well, the magic of the internet, I guess.
Wow.
Old, I guess. You mentioned that like there's more things on the horizon that you would potentially like want to do with this as well, like in-game features of things.
I mean, yeah, like obviously the first question people will have about once you've got in-game trade searching, when's Awaken Trade coming, that kind of thing. I mean, look, maybe one day, like it certainly opens the door to it. Like, I wouldn't want to say that it's not going to happen. Like there's stuff that we could do there, but like there's a lot of UI issues to sort out. There's quite a lot going on with that. Like it's kind of one of those things that I'd look at a bit later. But yes, obviously something people want.
It's all under consideration though, which is
for sure
very cool and very quite a pleasant surprise.
Well, like the goal, it is nice to get to the point of not feeling like to be, I'm sure it's only for some players or whatever, not feeling like you have to use third-party applications and stuff like that. It can, not to say Awaken Trade is dodgy, but there are some that are obviously a little bit suspect. People are a bit like, no, I shouldn't have to do this. I don't want to do this. It gets you can get a bit scared about it, and it can be a little bit like.
Makes sense. That's part of the whole trading process, right? You're always going to find people who are just sus.
Providing them and, that kind of stuff. So getting away from
that's
all
like
of that,
every game with a trading system. You're always gonna have that one guy or that one girl who's just a sussy trader.
This is a big step, but
it is a massive step though. It's a huge step in the right direction for trade.
Let an economy test it for us, get it to POE1, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll take it.
Yeah.
As said,
see where it goes.
System reveals its problems.
We can only assume, right? All of this right now is just assumption until trade goes live.
The question here is like, when you click like secure item or like buy item on the site and it's going to take you to the hideout, it's like, is that locked in and other people can't then click it? Or
no, they
is it a race?
It is technically a race, yes.
Okay, so first come, first serve.
Okay, should be fine. But that is just worth understanding.
That's going to be interesting for like those mega deals and see like 10 people loading in all at once trying to grab it. Who can click the fastest?
Well, I mean, it's first come, first serve. It's a trade for a reason, right? It's like an actual bazaar.
Time should be a lot better.
Yeah.
In this version than they were in the past. We're doing a bunch of engine changes.
Okay, engine changes. This is what Carl is asking for, optimization.
Worth bringing up stability and performance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've done a pretty big amount of rewrites to the engine this version. We've the goal is obviously making the game faster. It should be quite a lot faster in terms of frame rate.
Okay.
There's still some kind of one of the load times is definitely a lot faster. There's still some concerns around shader pop-in type issues.
Yeah, those shader pop-ins are crazy.
But
you gotta fix that.
Ultimately, it should be better, and we've also unlocked a lot more optimization opportunities for the future. So things should be better in this regard.
There you go, Carl.
I'm hoping, especially for consoles, where we've seen a pretty good performance uplift. And
now I just wait for the patch notes so that way I can get a good glimpse of what's actually changed.
That's definitely something that we're taking really seriously.
Good news.
And, one of the other things that I'm really hoping we don't run into is another stupid operating system bug. Like
that was
right. Like we've made
that was crazy. The OS bug was wild.
Fundamentally, the Windows 11
constantly crashing and bugging out.
Ultimately, we just kind of have to do what we can there.
How fun for you.
Yeah, I know it's very annoying, but that's just the life, unfortunately, of a game developer.
Yes, indeed.
To deal with that, but hopefully the full OS freezes will we basically managed to fix them for almost everybody, but they were still happening to a few people. So I'm pretty sure we should be.
That logout bug was wild, man. I got logged out so many times.
And things like that have been
right. So that's the other thing, of course, is all
so
the
annoying
problems and everything like that. So yes, that's been a huge focus of our server guys. They've been working pretty much non-stop on trying to deal with that problem. So effectively, what we've done done is we've actually retired some server hosts that just weren't able to be sorted out. We've got a lot more anti-DDoS protection stuff going on. We've been working on that. Like, yeah, it's been a huge amount of work to get it to the point.
I mean,
but
these back-end
effectively,
changes are
as we
actually
go into
really
this free
important.
weekend we're about to do,
As much as I'm really excited
we
for all
make
the
sure
front-end
that,
stuff,
you know,
these
every
back-end
single
changes like
server provider that we have
optimization
is
and,
armored up.
you know,
We've got,
DDoS
things,
prevention is really
in
important.
place for it.
Because if you can't play the game, it doesn't matter what
there's a couple of
changes are in
locations
the
that you
game.
couldn't find
If you're getting logged out and there's DDoS, like it just turns you off. It just turns you away from playing.
Low latency,
So these are actually good.
and overall things should just be.
These are fundamentally
significantly improved
very
over what
important
we had in the
changes.
past. So yeah, like it's really sucked that the previous launches have been so decimated by this stuff. So
Yeah, the launches for Dawn of the Hunt were
a big
admittedly
improvement, for that stuff.
not the
Are you
greatest.
feeling nervous for that free weekend?
Certainly it's a concern. I mean, so one of the big things we've been doing recently is we've been DDoSing ourselves to
test it out, yeah.
the actual DDoS stuff is working. We never did that in the past. We just kind of relied on, like, you know, on whatever the solutions people had. But now we're like, okay, when we do this type of DDoS against ourselves, like, you know, this one doesn't work, this one does, that kind of thing. So
I mean, you have to try it, right? You have to test it.
That, you know, like, it should be fine now. But, you know, like, free weekend, you know, there's a lot of players we could, you know, potentially be getting here. We need to make sure that we're, you know, up for the challenge.
Gotta be careful. Free weekend's going to be a challenge, but
like,
it's
part of the
good.
reason to have a free weekend in the first place is, in fact, to test.
Exactly.
That all that stuff is
Exactly.
good.
It's
So,
good. Yeah,
so,
exactly. You have to
we
test
do
it out because you're just going to get a higher influx of players, so you need to test it out.
With like the new trade stuff, like, is that introduced in some way that
So
helps them figure it out? Because it was never really the case that people were explained how to trade.
to be honest, we haven't really had like any time for tutorialization of this stuff. So
Is it
we'll have
something
to
you wanna
see.
do?
Honestly, I have to see how it goes. Yeah, like we'll have to see for that. But yeah, like, it's, to be honest, right now we don't even have a sprint tutorial in. Like, it's been, we probably need to get that in there at some point. But
I mean, sprint tutorial, is that really necessary? You just hold, you just dodge roll and then hold down space. You're good.
We will make sure that we've got the onboarding for that stuff.
We'll circle back into a big. What do we need to tutorialize again?
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe like a zombie chase you at the start of the game or something.
I don't know. I have to think about that. See, the harsh reality of tutorialization is unless you put a big red wall in front of the player and say, no, you have to learn this.
Which you literally don't have to do.
Then they literally won't. So,
Yeah, I always appreciated the like kind of lighter tutorialization.
I do as well,
approach
but
of
sometimes
PoE
like
that-
something that's so
you gotta
important. You
have
have to,
tutorializing the trade system will be a little bit more intuitive and easy, at least for the sake of
Yeah, no.
purchasing. Once we have an in-game
I
searcher.
wouldn't have even
Yeah.
said to do it before because it didn't. It's like you go to this site and do
Well,
this.
but also if the tutorial tells you to go buy a microtransaction, it's probably not the best thing in the world. So
yeah, but for purchasing, right? Like, I mean, ultimately, once we've got the in-game version, it's way more easier to tutorialize that, because then you can be like, look, here's the place where that is. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of on the economy thing, I can't stop thinking about it. So another thing is, in POE2 at the moment in particular, there's been some pretty wild exchange rates of currencies and inflation and things like that. I believe
I don't really
current
play
price
this mode of the game,
of
so
Exalted
I can't
Exalted,
speak much
tracked
on
down
this.
exactly, it's like 2,000 exalted.
I'm an SSF player at heart.
Yeah, I mean, like, part
But
of
the whole
you know,
economy
we
and
were
stuff,
looking at this,
I
actually,
know
one of the
it's
reasons
always
why
a
the whole,
point of
like,
contention for
higher
players.
tier, currency thing was partly to add stuff in the middle between.
So this topic right now is like not as important to me,
but also,
but
like,
it is
absorbing
still
some of
good
those
to
results
address.
into other things by having the higher tier ones be dropping and that kind
For
of stuff.
those who
Like,
love
there's
trade.
a little bit of thinking around that, but also the implication of this is that we're not syncing enough exalts. So there's something that, we'd have to think about whether or not we want to start doing some more syncs for that. But I'd say that's probably the main thing, is like that exalt exchange rate would be the.
I'm curious from your perspective, like, when do you look at something like this and consider it an issue, and why? And when
I think
do
it
you
was
wanna
up to
step in?
969 before, and then we were like, oh yeah, this is... That, I specifically remember the screenshot that was sent to me of the exchange rate, and I was like, oh okay, this is bad.
I also wonder whether it's just that the divines, people are wanting to value those more, like they're sinking more of those into uniques,
I
maybe.
was surprised that they ended up being valued as much as they were in POE2 because of like the way vials work, but we're talking about this and you're saying that like, well, the idea is maybe at the highest end you do sink a bunch of divines in case you land a socket, and now you've got the exceptional items too, like
Right.
maybe divines become even more valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know that's a problem, but the other thing of like exalts being devalued maybe is a problem. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
I
curious. Do
I
you see
expect
the problem?
exalts will be not that valuable still, and that's
Yeah.
fine
Well,
because
they'll be-
ideally the more common, especially in-game high
used.
trade rate, will be the higher tier ones.
There actually will be a
And-
slightly more sync for Exalt in the way the map mods work now,
That's true.
because you've actually got a reason to go up to 6 mods every time.
Yeah,
So
true.
that'll sync a few more Exalts that way. And so I guess we'll see how that works out. too.
Yeah, you gotta see how it pans out.
I'm curious, like, so when you look at the umbrella, you see 969, and you're like, that's a problem. I'm curious, like, what from your perspective is the problem with that? I'm curious what the delineation is between something just being a market phenomena. And
Well,
it's like, that's the way it is.
your average player, like it's a bit different when it's a mirror. And it's hard to explain why necessarily, but I guess, most people can probably relate with that. But when you all of a sudden are seeing something not like over 900, you're like every now exalt you find is just nothing. Like
Yeah,
it's
so-
nothing. It's you. There is a threshold. I don't know where that exact threshold is, and the threshold will be different for each person. But like at least if you to be able to quantify it as like I've found 1% of a divine every time you find an exalt, assuming 100-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
You still at least that feels like something.
Feels like something, you're right.
And now you're like, okay, I'm getting 0.1 and now it's 0.05. You're like, what are we talking about here? We're just in a point where like every exalt is, you're getting into filter it out territory kind of thing at that point, which is not great just because the value is so. I mean, you're talking about it being like worth a Reign of Chaos card from POE1 kind of
The
thing.
higher,
you know what I mean?
the higher tier ones. I mean, look, I'm really interested to see what the trading dynamics end up with the higher tier ones, like whether stuff starts to get priced in greater exalts or something like that.
I'm
like
curious to see
I
if
have
people
no
price
idea
them.
honestly what will happen, but we'll see.
There's not a set currency to price your items in. Like, what are they going to be? Like, all different things? Or what?
It'll normalize into something. There'll be a thing that everyone knows to do.
I'm curious about like so let's say you go to someone's hideout to buy an item. Obviously, you'll know the price of that item, so you can visit your exchange in preparation to like get the correct currency to buy that item. But if you like see other items in their thing, can you like use the other person's exchange or exchange currency? Do you have to go back to your hideout?
Damn, so many people
Does
left.
that work? I would
And
think
all-
you
This
would
is like
think
over
that
100K, like
probably
over an hour ago.
would.
People just came for the trailer and they just left.
See, right?
That would.
I
don't think you
actually
can.
genuinely don't remember if
Yeah, I
you
don't
can
know.
use
I
other
don't
people's
think-
ones.
I don't
But there's
think
no
you can,
reason
but-
there's no reason you shouldn't be able
That
to.
would be
Yeah, we
good.
can make
I
that
feel
work.
like that'd be good if not. So
can make it work.
Might be just
I don't know if I've ever even
You
tried
can?
to do
Chat
that.
says you can. Okay, good.
Okay, if you can,
Oh,
you
good.
can.
Oh,
I
great.
genuinely
Yeah.
am like, have
Well-
I ever actually tried to do that? I feel like I just default go back to my hideout. Like,
Yeah. Here's my advice to sellers then is to put your currency exchange person next to your vendor so that you can get a few extra impulse buys.
Oh, they're the same person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like-
we
okay.
moved it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ange is the merchant now that you would
Wait,
talk to do all the currency stuff.
That's a different thing.
No, that's a different thing. It's Ange, the person from King's March.
It was one of the
Yeah.
MTXs that you can get the long neck boy to
Yes,
identify
that's a
stuff.
different thing.
I was enjoying that people were like calling it a good doggo. Such strange.
Yeah. That's fully separate.
Okay.
This is Ange. You find her in King's March in Act 4, and you get, if you haven't got a hideout, you get a quest to go get a hideout, and then once you claim it, so you don't have to get your hideout in the in game now,
That's good.
or from buying a micro, I guess. And
Oh, wonderful. That's good.
So you get it in Act 4. She's there straight away. You can
Perfect.
immediately engage with both systems.
Yeah,
so
because
before
having
we
to
had,
grind
like,
to end
currency
games to get a
exchange
hideout
on
was a lot
all
of
the
work.
NPCs and all the towns.
But now you can get Act 4. It's
I
nice.
actually think we might have kept it there just on random NPCs in the interlude and stuff, just so that you don't have to go to your hideout every time. I'll have to check in on whether or not we did that, but I'll eventually, Ange will just handle all of it. And
So this means you don't gain access to like item trading until the same time as you would gain access to the
For
currency
the
exchange?
first playthrough in the league, yes.
Yep. Okay.
But the
Yeah,
subsequent
and then you
playthroughs,
get
you
your
can.
hideout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great stuff. Something I wanted to bring
that's
up
actually
is-
not true, by the way. Subsequent is not the case.
Oh, really?
Because otherwise, you have an advantage over new players, technically.
No, but subsequent in the same league.
Oh, in the same league,
Yeah, in the
yeah.
same league.
Per league,
yeah,
you
it's
have
not
to.
like sign
Per
on
league,
or-
you have to, or you have to have fair ground with
Yeah.
new players and existing. You
Yeah.
have to unlock it at the same point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Within the same league, completely fine. Yes.
All right. Something that I wanted to bring up as well was build diversity. That's
Yeah, build
thing.
diversity.
We talked a lot about like how you
This
I
is
mean,
one of the
there's a
issues
lot
too.
of buffs for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other archetype stuff. So that's obviously going to be helped by that. But I'm curious, like, your thoughts on like the point if Lightning Spear is 46% of the top 1500 players.
Yeah, Lightning Spear in
Yeah,
Donald Hunt was crazy. Like that was ridiculous.
46% is pretty big. I don't know.
That's a
Whatever.
sizable amount of people using one weapon, one skill.
Cyclone. Maybe
51%, I think, of Cyclone Slayers.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that,
Louise.
So it was like, so maybe.
So
maybe
we're not
one
quite
or two-
there.
one or two other times. Not quite there, but obviously
It's
that's
just as bad. It's just
that's
as
the
bad.
extreme
To be
end.
fair, that's I'm only counting one class there. Actually, Lightning Spear is across many classes, so
Yeah.
maybe it is the worst it's ever been.
Because that's just the skill gem itself.
Across both.
Yeah,
games, yes, true,
Lightning
true,
Spear
true.
was just
Well, either way, it's bad.
yeah, remarkably
So, yeah,
bad. My
I'm
goodness.
Curious, like, at what point do you
Across
feel
all
that's, like,
spectrums.
a problem?
It's obviously a problem
For
now.
what duration is that a problem? Yeah, obviously. But like, what's the point at which it does start to feel like a problem for you guys? And when do you want to even like address it in the next league versus in the current league? Because that's obviously a difficult
And
thing
I
to
just
do.
the mid-league nerfs, like people say they want them, but like the reality is that
Oh,
we get
they-
crucified for them.
Yeah,
Absolutely
you can't
crucified.
please
Like, it's
everybody,
just-
man.
it's-
You make a nerf, they cry about it. You make a buff,
If
they
you get
cry
on
about it.
If
fast
you get on
enough,
it, yes, you have to get on it so fast, basically, to make
you
it
get
okay.
away with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you
invested
can find it, but
themselves.
if you don't know about it for 3 days, well, I know it's silly to say how do you not know about it for 3 days. If you like misinterpret the severity of it, for example, and everyone starts doing it, you're like, oh no, it seems kind of fine, and then boom, out of control, and like it's now been even one full day, you can have a lot of the player base completely pivot. If that happens on a weekend,
That
if
would
certain
suck.
people are away and busy, especially people in balance, Jonathan or I, and stuff like that. Obviously, we'll support other people forward. Like you get our staff are playing and all that. So like this stuff does get around, and we do learn about it. But like if you slip by even a day, you get to the point where now you
Yeah.
have to make an excessively hard decision.
Yeah,
which is like,
exactly. It can
make 50% happy or 50% angry, right?
Right,
And it's like
yeah.
it's lose-lose.
it can just
so
pile
often,
up
yeah,
very, very
sometimes you
quickly.
make the wrong decision. It happens.
Well, it is what it is.
But
That's
look,
part of being
it's
a game developer.
Less about like there's a number that's wrong, and it's more about like the way we looked at it this time is like look at all of these bad builds. Like why like these need to not be this bad. Like you shouldn't be able to make this many mistakes.
All right,
this many
I got a
bad decisions,
BRB.
this many
The
wrong
toilet is
decisions.
calling me. So
Through
enjoy
supports,
this for
passives,
now,
everything,
and I'll
all
come
of that.
back
It's
when
like,
this
we need
is
to bring all of that up.
let them talk for now.
Now, by doing
I'll
so, you're
BRB.
bringing everything up. You can't just have Lightning Spear go up proportionally to everything. There's no one's gonna swap and play all this other stuff that's now, in that kind of same level of balance. So yeah, the outliers have to come down. It just has to. You do it, and in this case, we definitely thought it would be best to, some people will say you should have done it in the league. Yeah. Maybe they're right. Whatever. We're doing it now. We're bringing down those outliers. So yes, Lightning Spear is nerfed. Let's just rip that Band-Aid off. And honestly, if you're surprised by that, come on. But like there are, an insane amount of increases to bad things, wrong decisions. They all should be brought up in line. There should be a lot more viable options, a lot more good things, a lot more viable different classes.
The hard part's going to be that the support gem changes are certainly going to result in a bunch of new exploits, and that's going to be real rough because we're going to have to then make all those hard decisions again of like, do we nerf this, do we not, kind of thing for each of those.
You eventually get to a point of stability, but when you're adding this much and having to change this much, you're going to have a number of things still go wrong, a number of things still be abused, and we will try and stay on top of them, and we will try, but there'll still be some stuff I'm sure we'll have, and hopefully it's not 47%, and hopefully that number's less, and over the time you get more stability, more equality in the classes and the balance and the different skills and all of that, and but it's mostly honestly important to not just be like, I want to play a caster, and then you go and later find out that you picked the worst class in the game. And sure, there are still some builds within that are, you could say competitive to some degree within some threshold. But it sucks to learn that like you get to level 65, which for some players may have taken tens of hours, and then you're like, oh, you're telling me I literally picked the worst class that no one's playing, and I could have just been throwing a Lightning Spear this whole time and doing 5 times more powerful. That is a real terrible feeling to have. And so making it that you don't like, if the worst was only slightly worse than the best. Slightly, so within some margin that you're still at least feeling powerful. You're just not, it's it
I feel like
or
a
can,
complete idiot.
then at least you don't feel absolutely terrible about it when someone. But when people are just like, you made the wrong choice, like you have to re-roll, you're just like, well, that's demotive. Like I'm demoralized. How are you supposed to know that at the start without doing a bunch of research, right? And so yeah, that hopefully over time, and I'll say this is a huge step towards that. We eliminate as much of that just really wrong, bad choices as possible. Make things more obvious and intuitive and all of that, and bring up the floor really, and yeah, keep you don't bring up the floor, not bring up everything, because again, otherwise, what is a 0.1 second boss fight when it's now 0.09 second boss fight? You know what I mean? Like the ceiling has to come down when they're that extreme in particular. So.
I wish you guys didn't have to worry about balance so much, but the reality is that unfortunately you do have to get it to a certain point so that you can even assess that whatever changes you're making or new systems matter, that they are good or fun or whatever. You just can't assess that when something's too far out of alignment. So do you think like if something is looking like it's getting to the point of a lightning spear again in the future, that would be a mid-league nerf, despite not being like a bug or anything?
You can't necessarily tell, because at the point where, like, it's what Mark said earlier, like you look at it and you go like, is this actually that bad? And it's very easy to be wrong, and you don't, like, by the time 20% of the community is playing it, it's too late to nerf it.
Well, it's because they've invested items, they've
invested
their wealth,
stuff, right? Like
and now you nerf it.
Like you have to make the call before that point,
and
it's tough.
You drive a portion of those players to then quit by taking away the fact
literally
that,
all of them will.
Probably, yeah.
All right.
You could argue the nerfers in line.
Hopefully I didn't miss anything important.
Competitive and good. But
I should have actually put a BRB sign on my thing.
Right? Like they put all their
I just have to go really
investment and
fast.
wealth of the league into that, and they're taking that away is brutal. So it's like, who do you make quit? And that's it.
Hopefully it wasn't important.
It's a
Hopefully it's
ultra
just
terrible decision. So,
what are you talking about now?
Again, eventually they will taper off, and you won't get that level of extremity occurring that often. Like,
I hope so for you guys, because on the flip side, like I imagine the
POE1 went through the same thing.
Yeah.
Still happens there
I
as
think
well.
part of the thing though is when we were going through it, there were less tools for everyone to see what the like disparities were.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like as more information
I may not watch the rest of this because I do have to get working on my videos. I have a lot of content to drop.
Exactly. So it actually I think does exacerbate.
I may actually call it here, guys, because I do have to. I was working on a video before the stream started, but I didn't get a chance to actually finish it off. So I want to work on that. And I have to also just get things compiled for this POE stuff as well. I'll most likely have a video there.
Right.
No.
Because there's a lot of things I want to talk about as far as
leveling builds
just
are kind of another topic.
Everything I'm hype about.
As well, like,
so
do you guys look?
I may call it here. I will be back again though on Saturday. I'll be playing more Elden Ring. But I want to try and get as far as I can in the game before the new patch drops. I mean, obviously I'll still be playing after the patch, but I think it's good that I actually get some more out of the game before POE2 big patch drops. So yeah, I'll most likely call it here. If you do want to continue watching the stream though, there is the stream Path of Exile on Twitch. Just twitch.tv/Path of Exile if you wanted to keep up with whatever's going on if you're interested. But yeah, I'm gonna get these videos out of the way, get them done, try and get them done today, hopefully tomorrow as well, and ideally by the weekend. But until then, folks, Gramps, I know you're probably gone by now, but appreciate you stopping by. Marie, Carl, Moise, Cake, appreciate you, homie, for stopping by. Appreciate you. So yeah, I'll look forward to all the patch notes and stuff later. I'll look at them later. But until then, as always, New Warriors, stay strong, keep fighting, and may the force be with you all always. All right, take care of yourself. Much love. All right, take care.
We're playing Lightning and the other thing.